across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, so we always knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and I know you're very depressed about it and sad about it and disappointed. I'm going to say to you, I'm incredibly proud to be James Whale's understudy, and I know that you're disappointed to see me, but what I will say is James is a little bit unwell tonight, so I've run over all the way from Birmingham, where I, trust me, was backstage at the major reform rally drinking champagne with Nigel Farage, but there you go, there's the proof. I ran back nonetheless to do this. What I want to say to you is, bear with us tonight. I'm nowhere near as good as James Whale, but I am proud to be able to stand in for him. I know he's watching, and that's largely why I'm being incredibly nice to him. So this is the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould, and we've got loads and loads of things to talk about. But one of the things I want to start with, more than anything else, is about the bullying and intimidation and harassment of one of James Whale's best friends, somebody that I don't know if you know, but I nominated James for the MBE, but the person that organised all of the party surrounding it was an officer of the Order of the British Empire, somebody I didn't really know before that, who has been really harassed by Sadiq Khan. And I want to say this to you. I've spoken to so many people who've done so much for this country, who have earned their honours and earned their right to stand in front of the King or the Queen in those days and get their medal on their chest. And when James Whale got his MBE, I mean, he was on top of the world. And, you know, to watch cheap political scumbags try and take it off them is disgusting. Now, I appreciate this isn't the opening vibe you normally get, but I want to say to you, Charlie Mullins, OBE, officer of the Honourable Order of the British Empire, first of all, thank you for everything you've done to help and support me. But secondly, you know, you made a joke about Sadiq Khan and the man tried to take your position off you. I don't want to shout at you, but you've spent your entire career, first of all, trying to give jobs to people, secondly, trying to build a successful business, thirdly, and I think people forget this, trying to bring honest pricing into the plumbing industry, which, by the way, was an important thing, also donating to multiple causes, charities, political causes and whatever. You know, you've served your time, you've done your job, you've been good to this country. And I honestly, you know, I said to you, when James Whale was ill, and we didn't know whether he would get as far as His Majesty the King or Her Majesty the Queen pinning the MBE on, I said, you as an OBE, as an officer of the order, maybe you should pin it on. And you were willing to do that. Everything I've seen of you is the most noble, decent and honourable thing. You make a joke about Sadiq Khan and that little scumbag comes after you and tries to take your medal. How on earth is that acceptable? Now listen, there's something else I'm going to say to you, Charlie. Whilst we're talking, we're also going to stick a microphone on you.
But in the meantime, can you answer using the medium of mime?
but on a serious note, we talk about people who've defended and supported this country, and we talk about people who've been honourable and decent to this country. Whatever way you look at it, look, I don't know if you're a supporter of Charlie Mullins. Look, I didn't agree with him on Brexit, or whether you're an opponent of Charlie Mullins. You know, you don't agree with this or you support that. But let's just be clear on one thing. There is an honours system in this country. The honours system is supposed to be non-political. The honours system is supposed to be honest. The honours system is supposed to be decent. The honours system is supposed to be unbiased. I've always said, Charlie, you and I don't agree on Brexit. I don't care. What I care about is that you're an honest and decent man. So my first question to you is this. Beyond thanking you, which I think I've done in a pretty fulsome way, it's taken me 6 minutes, partly because of the microphone problem, if I'm being wholly honest. But okay, but how does it feel to have done all those things which I've laid out, none of which are dishonest, and then you make a joke about Sadiq Khan, that little scroat comes after you for your medal?
Okay, can I first start off with, I want to wish James well, and It's unfortunate he's not here this evening, and I'm very happy to put up with you two. Second thing is, I'll be seeing James and Nadine at the weekend and having lunch with him.
So he's well enough to have lunch with you, but he's not well enough to come to work. OK, no, it's all noted.
Anyhow, we're going to have lunch on Sunday at his favourite pub, Who Would Have Thought It?
Going out to the pub as well, a few drinks.
So I'm delighted for that. I'm going to go up and see him the weekend. Moving on from there, what was the question?
Well, the question actually wasn't even a question. It was just an observation that you've done all these things to earn your position as an officer of the Order of the British Empire. This show, and I think this network has taken seriously the Order of the British Empire and everything that we've done.
It's another 6 minutes now, you know.
And yet, because you make a joke about Sadiq Khan, he wants to take that medal off you, which is a lifetime of service.
OK, let's put this straight. They're not trying to take the medal off of me because of the two-bob joke I said about Sadiq Khan. I made 5 comments on Twitter, one two-bob, one about Carol Walderman, who gives a about Carol Walderman. I made a.
She's got a different face every time you see her.
Not since she left Countdown, no one cares.
Well,
she changed a lot.
Look,
she changed.
She's an has-been. She's trying to create her career again. She's finished job. Her numbers up. So the throwaway comments that I make, this is not about trying to remove my OBE about that. This is politically motivated. This is a personal attack. I'm being victimised because I've left the UK. I've told that when Labour get in, they're not qualified, they're not experienced to do the job, and they will make the biggest mess up that has ever gone.
But hang on a second, Charlie. I mean, look, I don't read every detail of your CV, but my understanding is that you said that you have very severe reservations about the economic direction of this country. Now, look, people can criticise you or agree with you or disagree with you, but at the end of the day, you are the most successful plumber in the country. You have the most successful plumbing business, or you had the most successful plumbing business.
I've still got it. I've just opened a new one called Waitrose London.
But your criticisms of the economic direction of the United Kingdom come with the force of some degree of knowledge.
Of course.
And when you say I'm going to Spain because I'm concerned, what you're actually saying is I need to preserve my wealth for my family because the British government is being so irresponsible.
That's right. Look, I haven't gone to avoid tax. I've gone because I'm no longer prepared to put into the pot and pay for people that don't deserve it, whether it be illegals, migrants, immigrants, ponces, benefit cheats, call them what you want. I'm no longer prepared to pay for them. So I haven't gone to avoid tax. I've gone out there because I ain't putting in the pot. The new company that we now formed, WeFix London, very much a family business, and fortunately doing very well. Doing similar to my previous company that allegedly isn't doing so well. So I'm keeping people in work. I'm back getting youngsters into training. I'm back putting money into the economy. I'm on there as a non-executive chairman, as I'm sure you know means I'm not on any dosh.
So let me ask you this question. First of all, look, I don't know what you're allowed to say as an officer of the Order of the British Empire.
I'll say what I want.
Okay, but
it's called free speech.
But first of all, how did the threats manifest themselves? Is question number one, and question number two, why are you feeling the need to speak out now?
Why? Well, I've always spoken out.
Well, that's a reasonable point.
But all of a sudden, you've got this busybody who's become Prime Minister, who's become very woke. He was the one that fought very much for free speech, but long as the free speech is what he wants you to say. So he started all this free speech off. I'm just sticking up for free speech. Today I've joined a great organisation, Toby Sullivan, who's running the Free Speech Union.
Toby Young, yeah.
Toby Young.
Lord Young.
Yeah. So I've joined that today.
Was it because when you remember a few months ago there was talk of you joining Reform? Was that when the trouble began?
Of course.
So, because they hate reform, that's the enemy. They bring in their sort of lawfare or different political pressures.
It's all politically activated or motivated. Let's not kid anyone. I mean, a blind man can see that, right? It's politically motivated. I've gone against Labour. I have no personal issues with them. I wish them well.
Well, maybe you should have. I mean, what about the reform thing? Is that now gone away? And whose side are you on, Rupert or Nigel?
Well, I'm still a reform member.
But do you think there should be mass, deportations? Because that's sort of the difference, isn't it? Between
Do I think that?
Yeah.
Of course.
So you're Rupert then?
Well, I don't care who says it.
Well, it's Rupert saying it and Nigel saying he probably can't do that.
Say what they want. I mean, look, that don't matter. At the moment, I'm 100% behind reform. If and when Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister, I will be backing them all the way.
But he's not saying there should be mass... He's saying it's unviable, we can't do mass deportations.
Yeah, but that's not our conversation tonight, Ash. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to know.
All right, well...
Are you going to be an MP, though, for it?
I'm going to go for a council at first,
right.
yeah? And when I win that, and then if things are still going well in the right direction, then I'll go for MP.
Cool, man.
But all them little... they're trying. There's a little bit of what do you call it? A little bit of school kid fighting in the playground.
It's gone a bit far, isn't it?
I want to ask you this question, and this is a question that I've asked my dad. And look, I'm just going to say to you, you don't know my dad. My dad started as an apprentice off a council estate, apprentice electrical engineer, and rose to be the boss of a major company. He doesn't have the level of wealth you have because it wasn't his business. Nonetheless, I want to ask you this, because this is the number one political issue for me. Could a young person with your talent and your ambition make it from the bottom to the top today? Because I feel, Charlie, that the ladder of opportunity is being kicked away from people in a way that I don't think was kicked away in your day.
Well, I don't think, look, because the way we talk, because the education we've had, we're already 10-0 down. But, I'm a successful entrepreneur. I run another successful business. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about apprentices. There ain't nobody better that could join the government and get youngsters into work than me.
Yeah, but I get that. But what about this whole idea? Look, I'll tell you what I'm actually driving at.
Just say it.
All right, what I'm driving at.
Say it, man.
What I'm driving at is I believe that young working class boys can never be as successful as you not because they're stupid, not because they're not as good as you, and not because the vast majority of people would never be as successful as you. Anyway, I feel that the ladder of opportunity is being kicked away from young people in this country, bluntly, on the grounds that they're white and working class.
Undoubtedly, I'll agree with you. But in the same token, I'm going to say, if you want success, it's out there. You've got to go and find it.
It's more reason to actually do what you're doing, because in your day there wasn't all this. If you're white working class, you got no. So you've got to start your own business. If you're a white working class guy, you're your own boss then. So the best way is to be an entrepreneur.
It's easier today, right? Yeah. But what you have to bypass is people like Starmer, Rayner, Reeves and the Labour Party. You have to move them to one side.
And the tax system is killing their business.
Well,
why he wants to set up a business with the green, the energy costs?
You've got all that nonsense, you've got all this nonsense working from home, but if you want to be a success, ignore the Labour Party, do what you know is best, and you'll be a success.
But don't they try and crush working with bureaucracy where only big companies can do it, whereas small companies, it just ties your hands, it's red tape.
Of course there is, but what I mean is, it doesn't mean that, if you don't get up and fight, you can't win the fight.
But it's much more difficult in some ways, but also it's the only way to do it now, because you're in your workplace, if you're a white working class lad, you won't get promoted.
Yeah, look, but in this world, there's winners and losers. You have a choice. There's leaders and followers. Yeah. You have a choice.
Yeah.
So, look...
But that choice is getting worse, isn't it?
Well, it's getting worse, but what I mean is you're still going to get billionaires, millionaires. Yeah. You're still going to, get on the ladder.
Civil servants.
Yeah, well...
They become rich now, don't they? The political classes.
Look, as I said for a long time, they'll be out of work soon, thank God.
They're all leaving, aren't they? Mike's full. All the millionaires are leaving. If you're a young entrepreneur now, you're leaving, or got a young family and you're successful, you're going to leave this country if you've got any sense.
If you've got half a brain. I've told all my family...
Which is a terrible thing, a brain drain.
Well, it's a terrible situation, but that's what we're faced with.
Exactly,
but what I'm trying to say is Reeves, Starmer and Rayner are not going to stop my new company, We Fix London, from being a success.
You're refusing to pay some VAT, aren't you?
On what?
Well, I heard you're not going to pay some tax in a protest. You were on it with Julia and Mike.
No. What I said is when they increase the national insurance, right, I will pay the old rate, right.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that game when they're nicking more money off me.
£1,000 per employee extra a year.
Yeah.
But if you don't pay it, won't they lock you up?
Probably.
And so you're willing to go to jail on this principle?
Well, of course. I mean, they're robbing us.
I mean, I'm not having a go at you about it.
Look, us lot are drinking from the same teapot. I know that. But what I'm trying to say is, if we keep giving in to these people, right, they keep taking liberties. So I'm going to suggest to everybody out there, don't pay the increase. Let them charge us the interest. Let them take us all to court. Are they going to take us all to court?
But let me ask you this, and I'm going to put this to you bluntly. You feel so strongly about standing up for young people, about employing people, about standing up for business, that you are willing to go to prison to stop Rachel Reeves destroying the employment market.
Look, put it like that. If Tommy Robinson didn't have his cell, I'd be in it now. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with Tommy Robinson. I'm sure they can find me a cell, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to continue to give in to these people that are destroying the UK. They're ruining youngsters' futures. They're ruining businesses. You know, you've got this Sadiq Khan. The throwaway comment I made about him, I've just given him the knighthood. I mean, I know what I would have done with him, but I won't say it. It wouldn't have been a knighthood, but it would be to do with a sword.
Well, I'll tell you what upset me about that knighthood. He danced down to the Cabinet Office and down to Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle to receive it. And then he said, tee-hee-hee, I shouldn't have received it. Can I tell you something, Charlie? I would love to have the medal that you've got pinned on your chest, and figuratively rather than literally. I would love to have it, and I hope one day to get it. I hope one day to be good enough. I'll tell you what I would never do. I would never sit in this chair, James Wales' chair, and ridicule and mock people who got that honour.
That's right.
I would never do that.
It took me 50 years to get it.
50 years.
And it's taken 5 minutes for these busybodies that you know have never done nothing in their life, right? They're pen pushers or keyboard warriors. They've never done nothing other than destroy England. Sadiq Khan has destroyed London single-handed. Right, forget him at the moment because he ain't worth the breath we talk about.
Well, no, I'll tell you why he's worth the breath, because we've never mocked the honours system. No. You know, if he didn't want it, so let me tell let me tell the public something, which you know, Charlie, Asher knows, and I know. A couple of weeks before you get your honour, you get a little slip through saying, if you were to be offered this, would you be willing to accept it? Sadiq Khan, if he didn't want the knighthood, could have said no. Right. But he didn't say no, did he? He got it and then went, oh, maybe I shouldn't have accepted it.
Look, that lot are all in bed together, aren't they? Like, probably, maybe I better change that, but you know what I'm saying.
You're probably right.
Ashley, behave. Anyhow, they're all in bed together, aren't they? Yeah? And it's all brown envelopes and all that, and it's all the old school type
of suits and glasses, isn't it? And clothes now. They're giving clothes and £18 million penthouses.
That's right. Look, they're all in it together.
Your mic's gone off again. Yeah.
Just
wait.
But I'll tell you something. There's no doubt that you're right, Charlie. In this respect, that there are some. I think what you're driving at is this. There are some people like you who've worked for it. I only got to know you when you were doing all the James Whale MBE organisation, all that sort of thing. And then, you know, I was stunned by the generosity and decency and also toughness, by the way, because I remember when you said, look, I will give my friend an unlimited budget for this party, but I won't be joked around with. I want to see value for everything, which I think was...
And what an event it was.
It was. But also, to see your life's work, you know, your OBE, being traduced and mocked in this way, and the idea, oh, I don't like Charlie Mullins, let's take it off him. Do you know what? I don't like beans, but I wouldn't take the royal warrant away.
Look, we have to put this in proportion. It's got nothing to do with my 5 posts I put on X or Twitter, which was 2 years ago, by the way. This is since I've joined Reform, since I put a few quid into Reform, since I'm backing Nigel Farage 100%, since I've decided that Labour are a joke, let's put it bluntly. That's what it's about. That's all what it's about. And, you know, they're not going to beat me, look. And you know, in my lawyers, I'm going to break the news on talkTV because I think you guys deserve it. My lawyers, when they wrote into my defence, why they're going to take it off me, they've got no grounds to take it off me. They come up with 5 things because they don't have one strong thing. You cannot take an OB off a man for making a couple of silly comments.
Correct,
right?
that is true.
What they need to take them off of is the convicted criminals, the nonsense, the nonsense, and the paedophiles that are still in Labour Party. Take them off of them. Don't take them off of a working class.
Can I tell you something?
You're going to any man.
I'm not a lawyer, though I worked in a legal role when I was at the House of Commons. Judicially review them. If you judicially review them about their policy of taking it off you, I reckon you'll win. And do you know what will happen?
Haven't they backed down?
You will set.
Have they not backed down?
You will set.
They back down because they don't have a case to answer.
I was going to say you should judicially review them.
They're not trying to ring it that we've had a deal that I'll go to a diversity course. They didn't come up with diversity course. My lawyers said, look, if this goes wrong, Charlie, we'll offer to put you on a diversity course. Well, it ain't gone wrong.
They're saying you're racist then, aren't they? If they're saying you've got to do that, they're insinuating. So this is what they try and do.
I want to say something else because, and look, I do not want. I don't.
Can I have some tonic with this vodka?
It should be already in there. You can't even taste it.
I do not want anybody to mention the name of this person, though many of our viewers will guess who it is, and certainly the people in the studio will guess who it is. There is somebody that I was talking to recently who's a commander of the Order of the British Empire, that is CBE, which is even better than no.
Yeah, CBE, you're one down from the night.
You get an enamelled badge when you get those.
No. That person made one comment on one social media channel, and there was an attempt by Sue Gray, by the Cabinet Office, by Sadiq Khan to take that off him. Now, first of all, we're not going to say who this is, though. Many people are going to guess who it is.
Can you give me a clue?
This is a person who spends his entire life working as a major historian in this country. Let's not say the name.
That's a big clue.
I need a bigger clue. Bellingham?
No. Let's not do that. However, I'll tell you something, Charlie.
He wears glasses.
We're gonna. I think we're gonna leave it there. But let
me wrap up a couple of things. Please let me say my thing. They was never ever going to take my OBE off me because they never had a case, right? Yeah. Now that they've been proven wrong, I won't be going on a diversity course because I don't need to. It's a bit like you've been nicked for speeding. You go on a speeding aware course.
It's worse than that. It's like a non-crime hate thing, but for politics.
But all of a sudden, I weren't speeding.
Hang on. I just want to stop you there. Look, you are so much richer than me, it's crazy, but I would give you £100 if you turned up for the diversity training and fully engaged with it.
I'm not going to turn up. I'll tell you what.
It would be quite good fun, though.
I'll tell you why I'm not going to turn up, because it shows a weakness and it shows that I've done something wrong. I've done that. Look, you would not go on a.
No, I would go.
No, but let me say this: you would not go on a speed awareness course if you was proven that you weren't speeding, right? You know, no, you wouldn't, would you?
No, because what, Charlie? You're not embracing the opportunity of humiliating them in person. No. Imagine you actually went down.
No, I'm not going to do it. I mean, look, I'm not going to do it because I've done nothing wrong.
I agree with that.
And it was my lawyer's suggestions, right? And I now realise, as I say, why would I do it? Why do I need to do it if I've done nothing wrong? I won't be going on it, and there'll be another story coming out next week where I'll be taking legal action against the busybodies, the Cabinet Office, for trying to...
the oldest division of the Cabinet Office.
They're trying to give me a bad name, right? And I already have one.
So you got a libel case against the Cabinet?
Undoubtedly. And I'll also be doing a libel case against the Inland Revenue because they have non-stop doing tax inquiries on me, right? Since I've gone abroad, right? They ain't going to find nothing because there ain't nothing there. Actually, I hope they do find a few quid because I'd like to know where it's gone to.
But what it is, what this boils down to very simply is this, and by the way, I know that you're telling the truth because I know you're an honest guy. Actually, they're bullying you because they don't like your politics, and that's not the order of the British Empire. That's not the tax system. If they want to bully you, and I'm going to use the word honestly, they can stand in public and call you a twat and argue. But what they can't do is weaponise the system against you. That is unacceptable.
What you said was dead right. It's politically motivated. I'm being victimised, yeah? And they've already lost. They cannot win, right? And, you know, I'm not that stupid enough to want to lose something that I fought for 50 years for. And look, I will spend... Obviously, lawyers Did you say you was a lawyer or you was a lawyer?
Well, as much as that Labour MP said he was a lawyer.
No, I've worked drafting legislation. I've worked in the legal...
I did A-level law for a year.
Okay, well, look, as you know, Andrew Eben will be doing his show next. He's a barrister, and they all know how to ask on for a few quid, don't they? Well, they do, don't they? Right? And I will spend every penny I've got to make sure that Labour are wrong and they're victimising me. And I've already spent quite a few quid.
Yeah. And what do you think about this government? Are you saying sort of they're a tyranny, they're not democratic, they're just trying all on
Well,
down
I'm saying
tactics?
what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
But in a polite way, they're incapable, they're unexperienced, they're destroying the country. They might be getting my OBE back, right? And the only way they'll be getting it back is when I tell Starmer to stick it up his... What I must
That
say.
is a legal way that if you can
That's
say
the only way they'll be getting it back.
I shouldn't...
The big one, not the little one on your lapel, the big one.
And in the box.
I shouldn't worry. I shouldn't worry, because even if they beat you, which by the way, it's going to be quite hard, right?
They ain't going to beat me.
But let me tell you something. You're just going to get a KBE when Farage comes into power anyway. So that's life.
What's a KBE? What's that one?
A Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire.
You mean a CBE?
No, a KBE.
Does he become Sir then?
Yes.
That's what you want.
Look, I'll tell you now, if Cameron was still in, I was working with Cameron on apprenticeships, right?
Yeah,
we nearly had it going, government-funded apprenticeship scheme. And I don't know if you know this, but when you get, well, you probably don't, but when you get offered one of these honours, it goes to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister has to agree it, right? So mine was agreed, so I get a feeling when they want to take it off you, they also go to the Prime Minister, and he's the one that opens his mouth up. So put it like that, Starmer will be out of a job before I will be.
I think they'll back down with you.
They've
already backed down.
Charlie Mullins, let me say to you, honestly, it's an honour to listen to you gob off like this, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because this country needs tough guys like you. It really does. Thank you so much for everything you've done. I just hope you know that the viewers and listeners of this channel stand firmly behind you in your battle. You don't need us. You'll do it on your own.
Look, you do need people, right? I'm here for free speech, right? And I've had thousands of people like supporting me. I've had ex-wives, wives, girlfriends, not all at the same time, of course.
That's quite a large number, Charlie, if I'm being totally honest. I don't want to be rude.
Well, look, we are what we are, aren't we?
He's had a long life.
You know, look, when they'll start digging all the skeletons out soon, right? You know, and
you'll be back in Spain.
No, they'll be digging them out, and I've got more skeletons in my cupboard than the graveyard.
And in the M25 as well.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something. Charlie Mullins, thank you so much. And also thank you for defending the honours system on behalf of genuine applicants who will come after you. That is Charlie Mullins. He's the boss of We Fix
Sir
London.
Charlie Mullins.
And also an officer of the Order of the British Empire, still undefeated and still somebody who supported in a fulsome and incredible sense the application of James Well to become a member of that noble institution. More next.
the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Has not quite left. However, over the years, there's been serious allegations of abuse by the Church of Scientology, and we all know that there's a phenomenal level of secrecy that revolves around the Church of Scientology, and unbelievably, the most secure location in the world, so they say, is where the Church of Scientology keeps all of its records. It's variously been described as a cult. It's also been described as something which is a scam and has stolen from people. It defends itself in a fulsome manner, and when Germany began taking action against it, it claimed that it was being treated in the same way as Jews during the Holocaust. So look, the Church of Scientology is well up for defending itself, but former members have consistent complaints. One of those former members is Alex Barnes-Ross. Alex, welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, look, do me a favour, because I think I've given a little bit of an introduction to the Church of Scientology, but that's a layman. So first of all, I want to ask you two very simple questions. What is the Church of Scientology, and how did you become involved? And let's start with that and then build beyond.
Sure. So the Church of Scientology is a money-making business masquerading as a religion. When you first come into Scientology, whether you're raised into it or whether you join, it's kind of life improvement courses. You know, try these tips and tricks and things that can help you live a better life. But these courses cost money. They cost more and more money the further in you go, and they assert control over your life in various ways. And that control gets more and more intense the further you go into Scientology, and then you end up in a situation where you're trapped in your own mind.
Do they find out things about you when you're, you know, sometimes they put you in this sort of state mentally and you tell them things and they can use that against you?
Yeah, absolutely. So a core to Scientology's belief system is a process called auditing, which is they describe as spiritual counseling. You sit in front of somebody who has an e-meter, looks like an easy bake oven. You hold these cans.
I've seen those. It's just a sort of, it's a lot of two electric contacts and a needle that goes like that. It's all a bit pseudoscience, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of like a lie detector, and their belief is that it helps find troubling thoughts and trauma in your past. But it all gets written down and recorded and absolutely used against you.
Look, Alex, you're going to make a series of allegations against the church, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we will give you a platform to do it. But my first question is this, look, cybernetics, L. Ron Hubbard, look, it's clearly a load of old garbage as far as I'm concerned. But then again, there are people watching and listening to this show who think Christianity is ridiculous and think Asher's talking rubbish by being Jewish.
One of them's got to be right.
What is the harm in wasting all your money on self-improvement books that are probably of marginal benefit, but you enjoy doing it? Do you see what I mean when I go that way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to make it clear, I don't have anything against people who practice Scientology. You know, you have a right to believe in what you want to believe in, and I'll fight for that. You have freedom of religion in this country, and go for it. But what I have a problem with is the behaviors, the abuse, right? When Scientology has such a big control over your life, you become trapped, and the information that you receive is controlled. Staff members, for example, are restricted to a diet of rice and beans if they are and they're punished in various ways if their statistics go down. You're threatened with forced familial disconnection. You have to no longer speak to any of your family members or anybody who is critical of Scientology, and it's that sort of behavior that I'm against. Why abuse people?
So look, I'm involved in the Freemasons. Let me tell you something about the Freemasons. I think it's fair to say, and I don't want to speak out of turn, that we believe that the plays that we do, the ceremonies we follow are ludicrous. I mean, I don't think we really believe in them. And by the way, I won't get into trouble for saying that. But what's the harm? And why is Scientology so angry when somebody says what you're saying is ludicrous? I mean, if you look at the the stage show, The Book of Mormon. I mean, the Mormons just laughed it off, didn't they? When everybody said, well, what you're saying is a load of old garbage, that Jesus went to Utah and then founded a new religion on stone tablets that later turned to gold. Ha ha ha. Why are the Scientologists so angry about criticism?
So Scientology is dictated by a series of policies written by L. Ron Hubbard, their founder. And these policies basically say that Scientology is superior to anybody and anything, and it's the only solution to mankind's problems. It's a totalitarian, extremist belief system. So when you
like the Labour government. They sort of behave like them a bit, don't they? I mean, when there's been journalists scared, they send their own camera crews to sort of badger them, and it drives them mad. I remember John Sweeney from the BBC suddenly went into this rage, and they constantly badger if you're against them. They've got a sort of department that will keep on at you, and you've written a book, haven't you? And have you had sort of problems like that with them, you know, following you or finding, you know, filming you?
Yeah, I haven't written a book. I'm in the process of writing a book.
Oh, that's right. You were head of book sales or something at...
Yeah, I was director of public book sales at the Church of Scientology in London. And yes, now I speak out on my YouTube channel, Apostate Alex, for anyone that wants to go follow me. And what I'm trying to do is give a platform for people to speak about the abuse that they suffered and raise awareness of what's going on really inside Scientology. Now, Scientology really don't like that. And what they're trying to do is scrub the internet of any critical information and completely silence and stifle free speech. Anyone that has so much as a thought that is not 100% compliant with Scientology's beliefs is considered an enemy, and the policy that L. Ron Hubbard wrote is that you have to destroy these people. So they do smear campaigns.
Am I going to be destroyed?
You'll likely
if you say too much, yeah.
You'll certainly get a letter from Scientology's lawyers after having me on the channel saying that I'm a stalker, a harasser, a criminal, and all these other things.
Okay.
I never have anything nice to say about
I'll tell you what would be entirely fair with them. So first of all, everybody knows, I've said this before, my response to every letter, that every solicitor's letter I've ever received, I got the first one when I was 17. Dear Sir / Madam, thank you for your valued correspondence. However, as a result of the number of letters Andre Walker receives, he cannot respond to them all personally. Regards, PP, whatever. So look, I don't give a toss about the solicitors' letters. We will give them an opportunity to come on and defend themselves, and I think that is fair. I mean, what I don't get is this. Why I keep asking this question. I know it's the same question. Why get so upset? They're enjoying the thing. They're doing the thing. I think it's a load of old garbage. But then again, you know what? I think Buddhism's a load of old garbage. It doesn't bother me. I don't spend my life having to go at Buddhists, and Buddhists don't spend their life worrying about the fact I don't give a toss what they do. Why?
Absolutely.
Why does Scientology? What is the problem?
Why is it a cult rather than I mean, is it something to do with a mind control that makes it different to other religions? What is the difference in essence?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, there are various different models around what defines the cult, but it comes down to control and the influence it has over your life. And when you have your freedom of choice taken away from you, that then can lead its way to abuse and harm. And what I'm trying to do is highlight the abuse that goes on inside Scientology.
But Alex, can I go the other way and slightly defend them? If you didn't have freedom of choice, if it was impossible to publicly speak, if you'd been badly bullied, you wouldn't be sat here now. And so what happens when Scientologists go, hey, listen, this bloke doesn't like us, we get that, he left, he had a bad experience in our religion, which other people will have a bad experience. But ultimately, does he really need to just take to the media all the time to give us a kicking just because he happens to have not enjoyed it?
I mean, that would be quite a reasonable response, but unfortunately, Scientology are incapable of doing such things. They go after anybody that speaks out against them with the full force of their billion-dollar organization.
So what will they do to me, having had this conversation? So we get the letter. We all know I'm going to stick it in the shredder and not care, and invite them on next week. And then if they don't, if they send me a solicitor's letter and then not come on, that would be remarkably dickish of them. But what happens? I'm being fair, Alex. I'm trying to be fair to both sides. What happens if they don't bully me and Asher and actually just turn out to be just probably what they've said they are, which is just a bunch of quite nice hippie loonies?
They used to send their big band quite regularly, the Jive Aces, who were this sort of swing band onto the Whale show with me and Whale quite a lot. So they have that sort of... So they have a sort of fun side, but then they have a very serious side, don't they?
Exactly. So the Jive Aces are all members of the C organisation, which is the elite level of
that is slightly odd, the fact they've got a navy with no boats.
They're a good band.
Yeah. We call it the fake space navy, and the leader is Captain Davy.
Although in defence...
His mother makes a great tiramisu.
In defence...
Well, the Jive Aces are all members of the C organisation. They have all signed 1 billion-year contracts dedicating their entire life to working for Scientology and all future lives. So they are
but also, look. I'm going to tell you this right now. I agree with you on the following respect. Scientology isn't for you. Scientology is for other people, and I think sometimes religions go too far. I'm a Catholic. There was the Spanish Inquisition. I don't think I'm in a position, and I think we do have to call out religions when they go too far. But ultimately, you know, if you want to sign up to a navy that doesn't exist for 1 billion years and eat beans and rice for the rest of your life, sing Kumbaya, and then get a fake lie detector and tell somebody you've never met all your biggest secrets, if it makes you happy.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you on that point. You know, people are free to do so. What I'm calling out is their behaviour that is abusive.
What specifically have they done to you?
So, for example, you know, they like to weaponize the internet. Over the last couple of months, I've received over 6,000 messages, you know, trying to smear my name, articles in their newspaper.
Well, that's just like meeting Alex Belfield.
But isn't that criminal harassment? Isn't it criminal harassment to do that? I mean, this is why the guy went to prison.
But also, hang on a second.
Your front door was kicked in.
Yeah, they hire private investigators to follow and intimidate anybody who speaks out against them into silence. And what they're trying to do is scrub the internet.
I'm going to say one thing, Alex. I'm going to say one thing, Alex. Look, we've heard these allegations before. In terms of hiring people to kick in your door, we're going to have to write to these guys and ask them for the right to reply, aren't we?
Of course, go for it.
Now, look, I've no problem with sitting the guy there saying, but also there is something, and do you know what I would say if there was somebody from the Church of Scientology there? I'd say, look, is it possible that in you attempting to defend your religion in a fulsome sense, sometimes you've gone too far? Because there have been these regular allegations. Now, just because there's regular allegations doesn't make them true, of these private investigators just going a bit off their heads and going a bit crazy. But it has been a regular allegation.
Yeah, because they're following policy written by L. Ron Hubbard, which dictates exactly how to attack critics.
To tell people to pretend to be in the Navy, hire people to be a private investigator and kick people's doors in. Surely that's not in the policy.
General intimidation techniques.
Exactly. There's a policy that's known as fair game. Now, Scientology will tell you fair game was cancelled, but the procedure still exists. And what it says is anybody who speaks out against Scientology may be tricked, lied to, sued, or otherwise destroyed. And they will go after anybody with the full force of their billion-dollar organization. And let's not forget as well, the key thing in all of this, which is why I'm speaking out, is the members of the C organization, staff members, people who grew up in Scientology, who had no choice about whether to be Scientologists or not. They can't leave because doing so will result in expulsion. They can't speak or see to their family.
So they're sort of institutionalised. They would never leave.
No, because you lose your family.
Yeah, and they have nothing to fall back on because they don't have any resources or anything outside of Scientology to help them live a life free of the organisation.
So, Alex, in closing here, what do you want? And I don't say that in a facetious way. What is your outcome?
Well, in 1979, the government inquired. In 1971, the John Foster report, which was a government inquiry into Scientology, found that the practice of Scientology is damaging to your mental health. In 1984, a High Court judge here in the UK ruled that Scientology is a dangerous, harmful movement that's out to capture people, especially young, vulnerable children. So the precedent is there for government to take action, but for some reason, nothing has happened. government. I'm asking,
they have a lot of money and a
government.
lot of power. I mean,
I've got to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Alex, you and I have departed. No, I've got to be honest with you, Alex. Stopping private investigators, wiping my bum with the solicitor's letter they're going to write to me, defending my right and Ash's right to sit here and have an honest debate is one thing, but you're talking about effectively a ban on their religion. I'm happy to say the Spanish Inquisition were terrible and they behaved badly, but that doesn't mean the Catholic Church shouldn't exist.
That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, in the past, there have been government inquiries and judges that have looked into the practice of Scientology and the harm that creates. So what I'm asking for is for government to step in to not look at their beliefs, but look at their behaviors and do something about the numerous allegations of abuse that are happening here in the UK.
Well, what I'm going to say is, Alex Barnes-Ross, there's no doubt that religion in this country and indeed across the world, where there is no oversight and there is no opportunity to question the behaviour of religious leaders, that does lead to problems. It does lead to abuse. I mean, the Catholic Church, whether it be sexual abuse in the Catholic Church, actually in the Jewish faith, sexual abuse has been a problem as well.
Is there?
Without a doubt. And equally in the Islamic faith in terms of subjugation of women, and no doubt this breaking up of families is an issue in Scientology. I'm with you 100% on that, but I do think we should also make clear that those people who wish to practice their religious beliefs, no matter how ludicrous they sound, and I don't want to be disparaging about Scientology, because clearly they would say my views are ridiculous, but nonetheless, abuse is totally unacceptable. Alex Barnes-Ross, I applaud you for coming on to call this out. If we get the solicitor's letter, we'll invite them on. I've got no problem with debating them on the issue of abuse, whilst also remembering that they have a right to practice their religion in a free country. More next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and this is the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. James Whale is a little bit ill tonight. Don't worry too much. He's only a little bit ill, and I've been drafting.
He's not ill enough to not go out for drinks with Charlie tomorrow, though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I got dragged away.
But get well. He obviously wasn't feeling right tonight.
I was in the VIP lounge. Let me tell you something else. The only thing I got of my complimentary hotel were these two flip-flops.
Oh, nice slippers.
Complimentary
They're Nigel Farage slippers.
No,
he's got personalised Nigel Farage slippers.
No, it's N for Novotel, not
They
Nigel.
smell of Rothmans.
They smell of Rothmans.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Scented.
Oh, let me tell you, they smell of Rothmans. They're not white, they're slightly yellow. Okay, so...
Call us, by the way, 03444991000.
Okay, look, this is one... Oh, God, you know, I hate this. Like, reading this going, let's be very serious now, because everyone's going, I hate that Walker. He's just much more serious than James Whale. Right, James has a laugh with you. This one's a nightmare.
All the Northerners, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that's my Patrick Christie's impersonation. He's on the other channel. Anyway, so let me just say this to you, that this morning I had my Asda delivery, because that's what I can afford. Some of you shop at Waitrose. Not that many, because it is quite pricey. And some of you follow wine experts on Waitrose to decide what wine you have at the weekend. If I'm being honest, that's not a big percentage of the audience, and it's certainly not me. However, one of those wine experts did a load of work to support people that come into the shop and indeed are interested in that subject. And I've been slightly disparaging, but honestly, people do appreciate it. And he was a member of staff at Henley, Waitrose, a wine expert who was well regarded for many, many years. And do you know what he did? Retweeted and made some comments on tweets by Elon Musk and was sacked by Waitrose.
About trans issues.
Ben Woods, you're a former wine specialist at Waitrose. Do us a favour, just tell us exactly what happened, starting with what your job was at Waitrose.
Well, hi guys, thanks for having me on the show. Well, I've worked for Waitrose for 25 years and had a personal political account that I've been doing since 2014, and politics is a passion of mine, as well as wine. Back in January, I was doxxed, for some of my posts that were commented by Elon Musk that then got saw by.
What do you mean, doxxed? They gave away details about.
Well, they found because my a post was seen by 63 million people.
So then it got back. People said this is a guy that works at Waitrose.
Yeah, they did a little research.
HR call you and go, you've brought us into disrepute, sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing, and this account, a left wing, a hate group account that exposes people they don't agree with. Posted, this is Ben Woods. He works for Waitrose Henley, and he's a far right white supremacist Nazi. This is where he works, and they posted a picture of me, which they lifted off the Waitrose Henley Instagram account. And from that, it just really went from there, really, and Waitrose suspended me, and then eventually on Monday this week they sacked me.
But don't you have a right to a political view? That's enshrined in, I think, the ECHR, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They love using that when they want to use it, but they don't like.
When it's on the other foot. I believe everybody has a right for their to their political beliefs, and it's outrageous that an employer can sack you because you don't agree. Of something that you say privately, or just because you work for an employer. I don't think it means that you have you can't have a political opinion. My own political beliefs.
It's one of the things I don't understand. And I'm imagining the leafy suburbs of Henley and what goes on there. I mean, I'd have thought the sort of clientele that read a wine blog or talk to a wine expert in Waitrose are going to be people who enjoy a kind of Friday or Saturday night sitting with a glass of claret or Pinot Grigio, whatever it is, and then talking about the issues of the week. I would have thought that, if I'm being honest, and maybe this is just me going crazy, that just as Stella Artois is synonymous with a fight in Rotherham, high-end claret at Waitrose in Henley is synonymous with a political debate.
Absolutely. I mean, it's as long as you're saying lawful, things. You're not being.
And what sort of things did you say?
Well, I like to engage in open debate, left, right, centre. I mean, the more interest in the debate is when you get people from all sides of the spectrum, joining a conversation. I would ask questions and try and engage debate. So there would be questions of what's going on in the week of politics, something that's been on the news, something.
Shamima Begum, you'd make sort of retweet,
absolutely.
And you'd show signs that then it's in a foreign language and go, why are we doing this sort of thing? It can be a perfectly normal thing. But they'll say you're far right for saying
Ben,
that.
I just want to know. I just want to know, because a lot of these cases, I'm just going to be honest, Were you in addition to that crap as a member of staff? And the reason I ask that as a serious comment is because there's loads of people who go, oh, it's all about free speech, but actually they were lazy, never turned up for work, couldn't be bothered.
Were you bad at recommending wine?
I hope not. No, I mean, I worked there 25 years, dutiful employee.
So for 25 years, you had an unblemished reputation in your job, and then when you started tweeting politically, the problems happened. Well, I think that does say something. That does say something.
No, I mean, so they started having problems with my because they knew what I was doing online. My account was never. I was never asked to set up the account by Waitrose. It was a personal thing. Which they knew about for years, and it was a well-known thing. So I wasn't. It wasn't about what my work ethic was or what I did at work. I was well liked by my customers, well liked by my colleagues.
But you had the wrong views that would bring. I mean, were you an employee? Have you got rights to take them to a tribunal? Are you getting help from the Free Speech Union? I mean, what's going on?
The Free Speech Union have been fantastic. Toby Young has Lord Young, sorry, has been helping.
Where's the balance here? Because, so look, I don't have a specific contract with Talk, but I have an implied contract, which is if I was to go, as an example, to make a speech at the National Front, I don't know if they still exist, and go, I'm here from talkTV, and everyone at talkTV believes that all ethnic minority people should return to their country of origin, or something crazy like that.
I think they were banned.
I think, whatever. But if I was to do something like that, I think legitimately my employers would say, well, hang on a second, you're standing up there representing a view that we don't have. So I do accept that. But where's the balance between what is you as a person and what is you, Ben, the sommelier at Waitrose?
Yeah, I mean, my account, it was, I made it very clear that it was all views of my own.
But still, like if there's a photo of you in the uniform, that's going to do something, isn't it? Look, I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm just trying to say I don't know where the line is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the thing. I mean, I think everyone, has a right to have an opinion, whether you work for a company. And I think this is, whether it's you're left. I mean, would this what's happened to me if my views were left leaning?
No, of course not. This is what they look for something when they want to get rid of someone with the wrong views. They'll just look for something to find you. I mean, so what's happening for you in the future? Have you got another gig or?
No, not at the moment. I mean, obviously, it's only just happened on Monday, so I mean, it's still quite fresh and raw.
Can I tell you what you need to do? Get a job at Majestic Wine in Sunningdale. Can I tell you, there's no lefties ever walk into that place. Can I tell you, they have free samples there, and I will guarantee
he's there all day.
Can I tell you?
I bet he is.
The only red you ever come across in that place is from Bordeaux. Trust me.
But guys, don't you think it's becoming now? Even if you're a little openly right wing or have moderate right wing views, you're classed as far right, and you're being.
Well, I'll tell you what you need to do next week. Come on the show again. We'll do a wine preview. Right.
Absolutely, no.
Right. What we'll do is we'll do our own wine preview, and you can become our wine correspondent.
Yeah. We can have wine.
Thank you so much.
Newspapers are next. Yeah.
That's
we'll be
Ben
back.
Woods.
James Well back next week.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Now, let me tell you something. We can agree to disagree on this show, and it's an amazing podcast. And we're joined now by Samara Gill from Agree to Disagree.
One of the stars who agree to disagree.
So tell us all about the podcast, Samara.
Oh my God, whoever was in your ear telling you to mention this, Andre, needs to go to hell, because and Ken in London will have words to say about that, but no, I do not want to mention that. We had a very disastrous breakup, me and my co-host, and we'll never be the same. So that's
just to be clear,
raw nerve.
Just to be clear, not that I write the intros. I think everyone knows that already. But when I said to you, the Agree to Disagree podcast, basically, have you agreed to completely disagree and never speak to each other again?
We've agreed to part ways, and we've agreed to not see each other.
So you've disagreed and agreed to disagree.
Let's just
You've agreed to disagree.
We've disagreed to agree. Let's just say.
What a big face.
So that's all over.
Okay.
So, but you're on with
Kev.
Kev.
Say.
You're on with Kev every week with. What just happened?
What just happened?
What went wrong?
If you would have listened to that, you would have listened
just
to...
been on before, yeah.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, Samara, if they'd have listened, they'd have known that this show's deeply repetitious, wouldn't they? They'd have gone, oh, they don't know. They only know about 5 people. She was on earlier, and it's only because she's not Pete Barnes. He's probably in a gutter somewhere tonight. I mean, he normally is.
Right, give him an hour. Come on, it's not 12 yet.
If I'm being totally honest, it's like James Stanage. Just stick him in the shower downstairs and put him on air. He'll probably be all right. Now, if you know who James Stanage is, that's expert level.
I don't.
No,
I don't. But thank you for having me, Ash. That's all I want to say. Andre and Ash, maybe.
You're doing
Andre.
the press preview.
Yes, indeed. Wheeled out.
So you're interested in books?
Who said that?
No, I understand you're interested in Russian literature.
Oh yes, Dostoevsky. You know, a bit
What is the? How do you say? This is my. No, I'm joking.
Would you like to say it first?
No, I wouldn't.
Would you? Yeah.
No.
No. Maybe you should say it on air.
No. Okay, so
let's start with the Times. In tomorrow's papers today, the Times, the Soaraway Times, and this is an amazing story. Police arrest parents for complaining about school. Couple were thrown in cell over emails to primary school. Police have been accused of a heavy-handed and Kafkaesque approach after sending 6 uniformed officers to arrest 2 parents who complained about their school. Maxie Allen and Rosalind Levine were put in a cell for 8 hours and questioned on suspicion of harassment and malicious communications after sending numerous emails to Cowley Hill Primary School. It's like when they said these politicians should resign. They now send the police around if you've got an opinion. What do you think?
By the way, what they were doing to bully, harass, and produce malicious communications against the school is that they were angry that their daughter Sasha was not given the part in the Christmas play that they were hoping for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's top level. That's top level problem.
This is again on a WhatsApp group chat. These group chats are causing havoc among communities, not just on the higher level, but you know, I mean, it's come on.
Yeah, but without being funny, Samara, I'm on lots of group chats on WhatsApp, and I get into trouble for ghosting people. Do you know what I do? I just put them on mute, and then
is that what you did to me, Andre?
Yeah, I do that to you. Yeah, definitely.
I've been messaging you nightly.
No, are you?
Yeah.
Because if I'm being honest with you, I think you're quite hot.
Oh my God.
But
that tonight. Anyway, Kafkaesque. I think Fiona Hamilton was very happy to have interwound that into something. But what I'm more intrigued by is Emily Mateless. I was told to not go full burqa.
So she went, what, half burqa?
No one wants to see that.
But on a serious note, this is a serious question that I think a lot of female journalists have to worry about when they go to places in the Middle East about exactly what they do, and also members of the royal family. Because, I mean, we can all talk about standing up for our principles. Very easy if you're a bloke, because you can wear whatever you want. But like the Queen or like Margaret Thatcher had to wear all sorts of whatever the garb is.
Regalia, yeah. I mean, I don't know. What does not go full burqa mean? Is this some sort of other...
I don't know, but Danielle Nichols managed to nail it when she lived in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Well, but on a serious note...
She nearly caused a riot when she tried to save a kid who was struggling in a pool and her top came off. Imagine doing that in Saudi Arabia. It almost caused an international incident.
That was absolutely true.
But what's more important, the kid or the losing of the top?
Well, there, it's actually what she did.
Just to be clear, 3-year-old falls into the pool, body rigid at the bottom of the pool. Yeah. She's sat at the side of the pool. Now, to be fair, it's a Western compound where she can wear a bikini in front of men.
Yeah.
She jumps in. I mean, she's a big girl, and I'm not taking the mick out of that on this.
Just
game.
the laws of physics.
She gets the kid, holds it up like the Lion King, going, "I've saved the child."
Was she not assisted by two helpers?
She'd done a Richard and Judy when they were on.
Remember,
and they go, "Excuse me, your top's come down." Well, with all due respect, I'm also holding a toddler who would have died.
Yeah, but you've hit the nail on the head. It's more about covering up, looking proper,
and saving the kid,
a child. That's what it's about there. It's all about this weird.
But there have been examples.
She only got 6 months.
There have been examples during the Gaza campaign, what I call a counter-terrorism campaign. Other people, have different descriptions of it, where literally women have been injured and virtually fatally injured, and doctors will not go near them because the doctors are male.
Well, it's like that in Afghanistan. They can't treat women in Afghanistan because you can't have female doctors, and men aren't allowed to. Even doctors aren't allowed.
There were all those riots in Tehran because they actually killed a woman because she wasn't covered up properly and she didn't have her hijab on correctly. And it's just like crazy that we're living in the same actual, time span as this going on the other side.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's going on here. Angela Rayner, when she's meeting with the elders, wearing a thing. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised she doesn't wear one full time just to try and get that constituency back in.
My favourite was Saida Varsi, and I've got loads of arguments against Saida Varsi, but I remember seeing her. She turned up to this event somewhere, and it was for the Pakistani community, and they put a women's room and a men's room, and in the women's room they were making all the food, and in the men's room all these elders, the expert level ones with all the gear and everything. They were all waiting for a speech, and she went, "Where are the women?" And they went, "Well, we don't allow the women in with the men." And she went, "No problem." And she made the speech to the women's room and just left the blokes all sat there.
I love that.
And the best bit about it was they didn't even get the dinner served because none of the women wanted to stand up and be disrespectful. So
it's like when you put these philosophies into real life, it just doesn't weigh up. It doesn't kind of work. That's the problem. But,
right. Also in the Times, David Dimbleby, "I think about death every day." Well, that's a bit depressing. People enjoy it. But we've
people at his age often do.
Yeah, so I wonder what he'd like said about him. I suppose he's planning all that, but it could be years away. David, stop worrying.
It's unlikely to be a long time.
Well, maybe not. Maybe he should be thinking about it.
When
Get your affairs in order. Also, the ultra-processed foods that are healthy. Yeah, some are actually healthy, and recipes for Mother's Day. What Jamie Oliver learnt from his mum. Here we go. The Daily Telegraph.
But he hated his mum. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Daily Telegraph, Carney accused of plagiarism at Oxford. Yeah, they've trawled through some of his papers from Oxford, and they found that he actually plagiarised, and it's teetering in the elections. It's on a knife edge, and it's not looking good, because if you're a plagiarist, you're a liar, aren't you? You're a bit.
I mean, I'd have thought plagiarising at Oxford, poor academic record can't be as bad as having been governor of the Bank of England in the past 25 or 30 years.
Getting all the calls wrong as well.
It's exactly like Samara. This, Rachel Reeves, Rachel from Accounts, right? So, if you were
get me started.
No, if you were given a choice between two things to admit to, either being one of the people on the economic team who led to the most catastrophic failure of a bank in human history, or being the person at the call centre. You go, no, I was just at the call centre. Whereas she has actively pretended to be involved in this disaster.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was involved in the disaster, because it's just like the lies come to the surface with these people, even the Canadian PM, but more so with Rachel Reeves. We can see that she's incompetent. It's not that she just lied and then kind of fake it till you make it, you know, girl talk,
She's
girl
in
power.
denial, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in massive denial. I don't know if she's going to survive until next autumn, to be honest, but anyway.
Also, it's looking not so good for Angela Rayner's workers' rights package. It's going to be watered down, apparently, over concerns it will hinder economic growth. I mean, of course it will. I mean, you're not going to hire people, are you? So obviously they're going to U-turn on that and water it down. So lots of things are going backwards, aren't they?
Look at this net zero czar, though. I mean, that's exactly what you'd picture her to look like.
Yeah. This is the net zero czar. I can see why people are angry, really. It's because they're all freezing to death in their houses. And
I mean, that hairstyle is a cross between Justin Bieber, Zac Efron, you know, the sweep over the front, and Bobby Charlton, because it's thinning.
I had that haircut in the 80s, back in the 80s. Yeah, we all had that.
She's been working more on her pixie cut than actually delivering for the country. But
I think this tiny one's really interesting, which is this whole Ed Miliband trying to force British Steel to accept a new green steel production policy, which is just obviously garbage. And now them saying they're going to attempt to use anti-terror laws to nationalise British Steel and force them to follow these green steel production standards. I mean, it's just nonsense.
No, it's really like a mental illness at this point, I think, especially with Miliband sort of being at the head of this campaign. I think, again, his days are numbered. I think Starmer's becoming really tired of all these incompetent people ruining his name. I mean, Starmer's bad enough as it begins with, but he needed to have a team behind him that could at least make him look half competent. But he can't, because, I mean, he's someone who doesn't have any actual life skills himself.
No.
But these people just really can't. And I just think that the amount of money that we're ploughing into net zero, I had a look at it today, you know, it's around £18 billion.
Well, they've said another 9 billion today in case it doesn't actually work. I mean, and that would pay for all the farmers that they're trying to steal the land off. Well, they're succeeding in doing that. It'd pay for all the pensioners. It would get people, but they're just spending it on. He looks like not all there, doesn't he, David Miliband? Never mind having a bacon sandwich. You know, he doesn't need that to look like that. But his days are numbered, and the Chancellor's days are numbered. But then he's got to do it slowly, because eventually it just leads back to Starmer, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the question is, who will replace them? A lot of great political pundits are saying Rachel Reeves is actually the best they've got, which just says a lot.
Well, she says she is the best.
No, I think, come on, embrace the horror. It's time for Lammy for Prime Minister.
Oh, God.
Come on, come on.
I don't want his sketches anywhere near number 10.
Come on.
I don't want those boots.
No, just to remind ourselves, in answer to the question, which Marie invented X-rays? Now, there's only two: Marie Curie, who has all the cancer centres, or Marie Antoinette. You think? I just wonder which. It's like me asking the question. I said this last night. Which quasi, and there is only two, Kwarteng and Modo, right? Which quasi?
Which one is that? No, I'm joking.
Which quasi was Liz Truss's Chancellor of the Exchequer? Modo. Well, there's only two, right? Presumably it was Kwarteng.
I saw him the other day on Sly News.
Quasimodo.
Well, let's just say, that one.
I don't think it's actually the same name, but I've always thought there's only two quasis, Modo and Kwarteng.
I think you're right, man. I don't know another quasi. If you know another quasi, give us a... Anyway, Daily Star, a terrible story. For once, they're doing something serious. Tens of thousands are feared dead in quake. This is in Myanmar, formerly Burma. And some of the buildings, you know, because it's a developing country, there's a lot of corruption, a lot of corruption there. These buildings are just coming down. I think they had a 7.7 on the Richter scale. Steve Denyer was there. I think he reported to Mike Graham on his breakfast show. But terrible thing. And actually, buildings that weren't even finished.
Sorry, I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disrespectful. But why was Steve Denyer there not literally there by the cement truck. He was in Myanmar. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, the Daily Mail.
If he was working as a cement contractor in Myanmar, that would be slightly odd.
Just do that on the side. They're making April fools of us. Labour's tax raids and soaring household bills to cost families £1,000 a year more from next week.
So I've got a plan for April Fool on, what is it, Monday or Tuesday. Why don't we put out a press release about something that's actually happening? And see how little traction it gets. So my favourite example is that PETA are running a campaign against cruelty to oysters.
Yes.
Now, oysters have no brains and no nervous system. Therefore, by definition, it's not possible to be cruel to them.
How dare you? How dare you?
But they're saying because they close, that is evidence that they can get upset. I think we should put out a press release.
They only close when they're upset.
We should put out a press release on Tuesday stating a series of facts about what's happened and see if anyone covers it.
No one will. That's how I was just saying to you before we came to it. Like, JD Vance has been in Greenland. That didn't make the papers, did it? I mean, he's saying that he wants to conquer Greenland and make it his own and take all the oils and gases, which I'm actually kind of in favour of. Anything JD likes, I like too.
They want to make a canal through it, don't they, or something? Isn't that the idea?
Yes,
like
I think that's kind of what they want to do.
It's all going to kick off there.
Reappropriated and all.
And there's King Charles wave that says, "I feel fine." So that's good news.
Well, that means that's not. He's not okay.
Is it his hand? I weekend Reeves plan for UK almost as unpopular as Truss budget. Well, yeah, I mean, I think they all stitched her up. Chancellor is now less popular than PM and other key UK political figures with approval rating of 32% suggests polling for the paper. So how long do you think she's got?
As I said, I think until autumn. I just think that a lot of people are saying that Reeves's spring statement was basically like a resignation letter because it was just so abysmal. I mean, it's really weird, all these policies that she's doing. It's like a Tory light, but not even. Slashing benefits. It's
and saving very little. Like, you've got 100 billion just on interest, and they go, "Oh, we've just saved 6 billion there." I mean,
I know.
But in defence of the Labour Party, I was at the Thatcher Centre at the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was at the Thatcher Centre.
Those were the days.
Yeah. And actually, I was speaking with Dan Wotton and Maya Toosey and a load of those people who were kind of in our space. And you know what? There was a guy on before, I won't say who it was, but Conservative MP, really good friend of mine. I was an usher at his wedding. Both. Yeah. So I've been a friend with him.
In a circle.
Yeah, but so I've been friends with him for a long time. And he was standing up going, clearly we need to learn from the mistakes we made. And I'm sat there going, no, you all need a fundamental rethink.
Absolutely.
And what frustrates me is I just sit there and I watch these politicians and I think, you know, it's not about a relaunch. It's not about having one new policy. It's not about saying, well, should there be, you know, NI increases or should there be cuts in welfare? It's about saying the whole system has fallen over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how stupid do the Tory party think people are that they'll just fall for that crap? Yeah, we've changed. It's like an abusive boyfriend coming back to you after bashing you up and stealing all your money.
Causing permanent damage.
Causing permanent damage, stealing all your money, your will to live, basically breaking...
And coming back going, I've changed. Yeah. It's all right, I've changed.
Yeah, no one's going to take the Tories back. If they think that they've got any sort of go in the next election in 4 years, it's just not going to happen.
I'll tell you what, let's go to a break. But when we come back on the press preview, I do want to ask both of you about Labour trying to relaunch and about whether they should just have a fundamental rethink. More next.
the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, so this is the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Samara Gill. And just before we went to the break, I just did want to ask you about this whole question about the Labour Party and this revive, this reverb, this attempt to relaunch political parties time and time again. What frustrates me, Samara, and you've been a political commentator for some time, and Asher and I longer.
A couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, but I just look at this and I just think, isn't there a frustration amongst people like us where we go, look, we're in the media, we understand what a press release is, do something. We're so bored of going, there's a great new initiative, and it not be a real initiative.
Well, that's exactly right, Andre. And it's like what you talk about. Let's say, take Kemi Badenoch, for example. She should be out there every single day. It's so easy for her. She's probably in the easiest job in Britain, taking down the Labour government. And what does she do? Absolutely nothing. Because she can't get her head in the game. She can't get into the 21st century. As you said with the press releases, just last week, net zero. Oh, we were wrong to think that net zero was going to happen. It's not going to happen. Wow. Did you just wake up from 2019 and slap your head on the table?
Yeah, but she only said it's not going to happen by 2030, leaving it, we could do it by 2030. She left it all, she flannels around and doesn't ever say anything really.
People want, we're going to scrap every single net zero policy. We're going to put that money back into your...
And we're going to stop the boats coming in. We're going to, and this, everyone would go, brilliant.
Simple.
I disagree with this. I disagree with that. You know, every single political campaign I had, apart from my own attempts to get elected, because I rubbed the electorate up the wrong way, I always used to win overwhelmingly. Do you know what I used to say to people? Politics is easy. Just listen to people and do it. And do you know the easiest thing about politics? Even if you're wrong, just be emphatic about it and then emphatically change it. So I gave the example about Asher Gould. If you drafted Asher Gould to be a member of Parliament, he'd go in, right? Do you know what he'd do? He'd literally go.
I'd make big changes from day one.
He'd go to the constituency. I mean, he's taking a bit.
Asher Gould for
me. I really would.
But he'd go to the constituency, probably go down the pub with all the local lags, and then go back to Westminster and stand up going, "Oh, Bubba, as far as I'm concerned, we need to do this." Now, you know what? Some gumption, some action. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And even if what he was saying was complete and total garbage, if 649 other people did the same thing, in the end, the debate would get somewhere.
All we need to do is look across the pond at Trump. I mean, that is a nation that has said, no, we're done with your crap. We're done with your weird little, spindly policies that don't make any sense to us. And we're done with, your latency, just running the government like it's some sort of maybe I'll do that today and maybe I won't. I mean, at least he's got gumption.
And even
like
some of the Poland and Hungary, they're sort of sorting it out. There's no crime in Poland. And we can just see with our European neighbours.
If you look at the House of Commons, they used to have a rule where you couldn't read out a speech, and the reason is because what happens now is it's like going to a primary school, whereas you go, I am very concerned about immigration in Britain, and I am very worried about my constituents who are very upset. In the old days, people used to sit there with notes going, oh, listen to what Samara said, who's the MP for Ellesmere Port, and I've heard what Asher said, the MP for Birmingham Edgbaston, and I've heard what Andre said, the MP for Kensington Chelsea, clearly. No, but actually they would sit there and have a real debate. But now you watch them, they stand up going, I think a genocide is very bad.
And you know it's going to get even worse too when it's a bunch of Gen
But they're
Zers
not really in control, are they? I mean, Dominic Cummings said it's nothing to do with the cabinet. It's all decided before. And this new two-tier system that's now become official policy. The Justice Secretary said, I didn't know this was happening, all my assistants. Well, she's basically admitting she can't do the job. She failed at the job, which means, they're not actually doing their jobs as ministers. She's admitting to her incompetence by saying that, but it doesn't seem to, she doesn't make the equation that if you don't know what's going on and the law passes, you're actually incompetent as a minister and you're admitting it.
I mean, a lot of people that call into this station, I would want them as MPs. I want them to be running the country. And I think that's because they've got real life experience. We're going to get another batch of career politicians in Parliament if we don't vote for a different
Can I tell you what I would do if I was a member of Parliament, if us three were? I would pick up a piece of legislation and go, what does it mean? Right?
Yeah.
You know, people are going, oh, connected purpose is this. Right, can I tell you something? I've got proof that every single person watching and listening to this show is a liar. And I can prove that we're liars as well. The reason is because when you set up your new phone, it goes, did you read the terms and conditions? Now, I know you didn't do that, because had you read it for an Android phone, it would have taken working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, 3 months. Right?
Which is
Why is that on your
unreasonable. That's
screen?
unreasonable. I would say that contract doesn't, stand because it's unreasonable.
Strangely enough, that's George Michael. I don't know why. I don't know why
Have you
he's on
signed the George Michael contract?
But on a serious note, what happens is
no, you're
you've
right.
got all these members of parliament, right, and they're voting on legislation that's a foot deep of paper per week. And what I always used to go was, but what does this mean?
Exactly, and that's
What are you
why
on about?
the media gets themselves in such a tizzy when you get Trump signing all these executive orders that are like, I'm going to ban plastic paper
Exactly.
straws and I'm going to replace them with plastic, and things that people actually understand. But he's just got that political intuition, which is what we need over here in a leader.
When I worked for a local council, and we wrote this letter to people, and the thing is, because I've got a postgraduate in English, it's quite easy to go to people. I don't know what you're on about. I don't understand what. Whereas other people, I appreciate it's more difficult. But this letter said, going forward, we are concerned about our green waste targets and whatever. I said, first line should be, if you recycle more, we'll give you M&S vouchers. Second line should be, here's how to claim it. Third line should be, thank you very much.
100%.
That's it. I mean, it ran to 8 pages, and I'm thinking, I've got a postgraduate in English. I don't know what you're talking
But it's
about.
also a bit like, I remember in Yes Minister or Yes Prime Minister, what they used to do, the civil servants, would they give you the red cases, to go home and do your homework, and they'd slip in a bit of legislation right at the bottom, so you're not going to find it. And this is how they're so covered in.
I had a very lovely gentleman.
Did you?
Gentleman. No, I worked with a very lovely gentleman who was probably one of the most decent people I've ever met, but not one of the more intelligent people. And he was our head. He was
Such
a councillor.
a backhanded
He was a councillor in charge of transport, and he said that what he'd done was he'd abolished the bus service in his own village. Right.
Yeah.
And basically, he said, Andre, I can't believe I've done it. He said, so what I used to do when I worked as political advisor, I used to arrive in departmental meetings 10 minutes late, uninvited. Right. I used to sit down, open my pad, and go, gentlemen, the leader has sent me here to tell you the following, which was a rather intimidating.
He missed the bus.
But I said to this bloke, I said, I've reviewed that policy document. It was literally an inch deep of paper. And what page was the abolish the bus service in my own ward? Page 400.
Oh my goodness.
And this was a weekly policy document. I said, you know exactly what you were doing. I said, here's what's going to happen. The bus service comes back. Well, it's all been agreed at Cabinet. I said, well, I'll agree it, or you're going to be thrown out. But it's exactly what Asher said. Oh, he said, and I'll tell you what, something else. The papers were normally 200 pages deep a week, but they'd expanded to 600 the week that he was abolishing his own bus service. And yes, he did sign it, and yes, he didn't read it. It was 600 pages in 1 week.
So this, on the week that the MPs have gotten a pay rise, do you think that they should be earning more money so we can get more competent people?
No.
Or do we think we should be sorry,
They won't become more competent.
No,
if they
you're
get paid.
you're going completely the opposite way. You need to abolish pay for members of parliament.
Yeah.
And you need to force them all to have a second job. Now we can give them expenses to come to London or whatever. But these and by the way, if you don't believe that MPs can't have a second job, why do government ministers also sit in parliament?
Sometimes working against our own government. The Attorney General.
The reality is what they're doing is they're getting letters in going. I mean, we got a letter when I worked in the House of Commons from somebody who said, I'm very concerned about double yellow lines in Carnforth. And we thought, but you're the county councillor responsible for Carnforth. Yeah. And he said, yes, but what are you going to do about it? Well, tell you to not do it. And he said, well, I'm very angry that you're being negative about it. It's your job. And this guy, as a councillor for Carnforth in Lancashire, which people will know, literally was furious that the Member of Parliament for Morecambe and Lonsdale was not willing to intervene to stop him putting in double yellow lines in his own.
But that goes right up to the top. Keir Starmer could stop the boats. He goes, well, you could stop them on, from day 3 and they'd stop coming. So it is a ridiculous thing.
Smash the gangs. I mean, he's talking about literally the biggest organisation, moneymaker in the world, human trafficking. That's the.
And he's not smashed one gang.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to take that down overnight? It's not a couple of people.
It's just words like we were talking earlier. It just knocks into the long grass.
What they've done, we'll go to a break now. What they've done is precisely the same thing as they did with the minimum wage. Many of you will know Cheetham Hill in Manchester or around Strange Ways.
I wouldn't go around there. Not this time of night.
Where they used to sell all of these, clothing products and whatever. And there were Asian women who'd be working on £1 an hour. When the minimum wage came in, everyone went, sorted it. Everyone earns at least £5 an hour. No, they don't, because lots of people completely ignore it. And what frustrates me is they go, right, I mean, I remember when Labour said, right, we need an integrated transport policy, and they literally put a bill before Parliament going, the British government has an integrated transport policy, and that was it.
Yeah.
The reality is that, let's pass a law saying it's illegal to come to the UK without proper permission. Yes, well, we've done that 50 times. Why doesn't the bloody government and the Home Office actually deport them? Oh, we can't bother doing that. Let's have another debate in Parliament. There's no legislative solution. You need to get these people and throw them out.
We're done with soft touch. We need a bit of hardcore, I mean, you've seen that. I mean, I hate to keep referencing Trump, but they're always about 4 years ahead of us. I mean, they've got their migrant crossings of their border down 94% because they said, if you come across, jail time for you, buddy. You've broken the law.
It's very simple.
It's really that simple. And it's just like what you say. We have these 400-page documents to say something very simple when it really could just be one sort of legislation ratified very easily. That's just a top line and
easy to understand.
I remember. Before we go to the break, I'll give one final example. I remember meeting Transport for London, and there was this cocky Scottish guy who used to drive me mad. He used to go, I'm here to tell you whatever you want to know. I am the most open and honest person. Right, I won't continue with the accent.
Connolly.
I won't continue with the accent, but he used to go, I'm the most honest and open person. And we'd ask him a series of questions, and we'd bring him back next time. We'd go, why didn't you tell us that? And he'd go, I can only answer questions you asked. And I went, all right, I'll tell you what we're going to do from now on. The question is, what do you not want me to know? And he said, that's not a very sensible or helpful question. No. I said, I'm sick of you. What is it you don't want me to know? If you don't tell me what it is you don't want me to know, these meetings are never happening again.
Oh my gosh!
Well, he did. He go. Well, the reason I didn't, I've told you I'm the most open man you'll ever meet, but I can only, I can only tell you things if you ask me about them.
So what happened? He refused
I hate those type of people.
I said to him, so the solution to this is tell me what I don't want to know. Well, answer that question. If you don't, get out my office.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so what happened? He went out your office.
Well, never saw him again. Never saw him again. And to be fair, they still destroyed London. Yeah. More next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is Samara Gill from the Agree to Disagree podcast. Tell us a little bit about what you're running this week.
No, that's history now.
What am I running on the the podcast is dead in the water.
Have you got a new one coming out, a new podcast?
Well, just like apparently Vlad.
Nice segue. Nice
Ukraine Vlad, die soon tip. Volodymyr, so the other Vlad, Zelensky thinks mad Vlad doesn't have a long time to live. During an interview with journalists, including the BBC's Jeremy Bowen,
He doesn't look well.
the Ukrainian leader was asked what the despot feared. He replied, Putin is afraid of this society and the destabilization of his world. The second thing is that he will lose power, and that depends on his age. He will die soon, and that's a fact.
I've got to be honest with you, I've said this a billion times on the show. I love the way Vladimir Putin goes on about the technological innovations of the Russian military while sat at that big long table with a fax machine.
Yeah, that's such a great point.
Get rid of the fax machine.
I mean, come on. It's like...
So, has anyone got a fax for Vladimir Putin? No, because it's not 1998.
Or the fax has come from 5 years prior. Just entered his fax machine.
Somebody said to me, Andre, you're being disgraceful there because actually he might need that for communications. Well, that's fine, but just don't have it sat next to you.
I want to know what goes through that fax machine.
Nothing. Have you ever seen it actually bleep? He just sits there going, I pushed her.
Last time I was in the Kremlin, I didn't hear anything coming.
When was the last time you were in the Kremlin?
Oh, a couple of years ago.
What were you doing,
do you know the last
what were you
time
doing down the Kremlin?
Do you know
follow the part of the oligarchy?
Not
really.
Not close by, but...
Do you know the last time I was in the Kremlin?
Yeah, pray tell.
1992.
Yes, you went on this school trip, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Was that the one with Keir
Tell us about
Starmer
who
and the
fell out
spies?
the
Check us
window.
out.
I can't tell you the story, but it's fair to say that I mean I'd love to tell you the story in person, but it's fair to say that what I thought was the universal symbol for hot water is not the symbol for hot water in Russia, and even though we were only 12. A lady of ill repute was sent to the hotel room. It wasn't our fault. I was going, I need hot water for a hot pot noodle.
But that's not the international symbol of hot water.
No, it was. Oh,
that's the same thing everywhere.
No. Well,
no wonder that happened.
Well, okay, they were just being friendly. They were giving you what you...
Either way. I mean, it was an awkward situation, age 12, hiring a lady of the night to your hotel room on the school trip.
And you only had your pocket money.
It wasn't...
That probably would have been enough.
No, we didn't even have that. We only had travellers' checks. And to be fair, she didn't accept them.
That'll do nicely.
Surprised she didn't want a British passport out of that.
She probably did, but we couldn't speak the lingo, if I'm being honest.
Put your phone to bed early or suffer a rotten night's sleep. Adults who look at mobile phones or tablets right before bed are less likely to get a good night's rest, according to a study. Wow, I don't think you needed a study.
But it's because you stay up late looking at your phone. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. Do you fall asleep with your phone just like slapped on your face?
No. Do you know what I actually do?
Yeah.
I run 6-hour documentaries during the night whilst I sleep.
And then you know all the information without having consciously taken it in.
I integrate. I'm not joking. I integrate the documentary into my dreams.
Yeah, I do that.
What documentaries?
Yeah,
so it might be.
You do it too, Ash?
I do that sometimes. Yeah, at the moment there was a good football hooligan documentary I'm listening to.
Andre's giving me the
so it's an example. I had a dream the other night about the way that the Apollo 12 third segment had become a major issue in my life, and the reason is because they got the trajectory wrong, and it actually became an orbital object of Earth.
We could really read into that and think about that in the context of your life.
I just do any...
Are you orbiting your own self?
I just do any documentary. But what happens if you do remember your dreams, you start to remember how you integrate them within...
Oh my God, so you're lucid dreaming, basically.
Yeah, so what you do is you dream about what you're hearing.
Speaking of, could do better? Pampers, the new nappies for untrained school kids. This is about a phenomenon that's going on. Basically, this baby care giant has responded because a lot of school-age children are going to school with nappies on. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, they do wear... Some of them
but,
are breastfeeding, at the age of 9 or 10, and the mothers... Yeah, you were one of them, 23, and he's still doing it.
Until I was like
Bitty.
5.
What?
Yeah.
What was that?
Why?
So you were breastfeeding till what?
Yeah, probably like 4 or 5.
It's not acceptable.
Yeah, Mum, if you're watching, you can call up and verify that. But yeah, I mean, it's just.
Well, she's not going to call up, is she? She's going to go, well, hey, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, call in, Mrs. Samara.
Samara, you couldn't get rid of her. I'll tell you what, she was biting for about 3 years.
It was literally like, come back from school and like go have a breastfeed.
It's
so
very
I'm part of the problem.
nutritious, though.
Nutritious and delicious, yeah. I mean, I kind of remember that. Parents of children with additional needs or disabilities welcomed the move.
So I've got a strong view about this, and people don't necessarily expect the view that I've got. I genuinely believe that the lockdown was child abuse, and I genuinely believe that children have been stunted in their developments as a result of this. And I think that whilst we shouldn't allow anyone to go to school who is, you know, not potty trained, I do think it is the fault of us. I think it's the fault of the government. I think it's the fault of lockdown, and it's yet another reason why Chris Whitty should be on trial.
No, I mean, exactly. Yes, I agree with that.
It's
but
the
I also
parents'
think
fault, though.
Not everyone should be parents. I think that's what we can reduce from this. I mean, if you haven't got the time or temerity to try and train your toddler up, then just don't have them.
But hang on a second, right? So we can blame individual parents. Why is it that children are, you know, are suffering from mental health problems on a mass scale? So you can always say, look, there's always a difference between retail and macro and you know, the wider society. But the reality is we are seeing problems time and time again which are associated with people being isolated. Children not having family support, children not having decent, you know, social lives and whatever. And I think we're seeing problems associated with it.
I've seen cats that are trained to use the toilet.
Yeah, most cats are trained to use the toilet.
Really?
I mean,
is that normal with cats? I saw it on you. I thought it was just a unique thing. It flushed a train.
The actual toilet, right? Yeah. I mean, look, the thing is with this, I think you're bang on, Andre, because it's right. I just think that, first of all, parents aren't equipped to have to deal with kind of real life things, and no one's being held accountable. That's the problem. So
just trying to use the potty. That's what you do. It's not brain surgery. There's the potty. Do it in there.
Yeah, but okay.
Don't you fear for these kids though that are growing?
I do.
But they're made to be victims, so that it's encouraged them to be victims.
So look, I accept that I might be wrong, but and I've been wrong before. But my honest view is, if it was 1 or 2 cases, then we could say that there's been 1 or 2 extra bad parents. The fact that there are thousands and thousands of things like this, children who can't speak when they go to school, kids who poo their pants age 5, you know, kids that actually are suffering from mental health. Yeah, well, I mean, it's
traffic lights once.
It's I genuinely believe that it's because we are the child abusers because of lockdown. Now, I'm not saying that parents couldn't do anything about it, but I believe that we're to blame.
These cases have only gone up and up since lockdown. I think we can see.
You've got more time to potty train them in lockdown.
That's not what happened.
No,
what happened is the segregation did. Well, look. Do you know what I was saying? I was saying to a friend of mine who just happens to be Jewish. It doesn't matter whether he's Jewish, Church of England or whatever. Happens to be Jewish. I said, look, I grew up in a solid community, the Irish Catholic community in my area. Okay, he happened to grow up in a solid Jewish community, a solid community, which just happened to be the Orthodox Jewish community of North London. Most people are not growing up in a solid community, and also
totally right.
And also we are ripping the family to bits. And equally, I genuinely think that lockdown is one of the most ruinous pieces of public policy we've ever had. Even if you ignore the horrendous cost and the fact that it's completely pointless, I think it has
mental health issues,
done so much damage to our society, so much more damage to our society. And I maintain the point. Whitty, Valance, and all of them, I put them on jail and I block them.
But also, don't you think people have been going, like, by you saying that, they're going, yeah, this is why I've got to claim these benefits. So you're victim. It's now cool to be the victim and claim.
I do accept that.
Yeah, but
so it's encouraged, isn't it?
It's only 5 years on that we start to see these effects, and you're right. It's just the lack of community. You've hit the nail on the head there. That's really what it is. We just don't have that anymore. And also, there's a lot of benefit schemes and different things that are actually encouraging families to be separated.
Working from home as well, all that.
Working from
Still
home.
going on now.
Yes, but also, you know, there's a lot of schemes that, and I hate to say this, and I know it's controversial, but some of the things that the Labour government's implementing almost encourages.
But we, Samara, you know full well that we have people working on this floor for
nappies
for relatively low pay, who are going out, you know, doing the dream job, you know, being the big I am, walking around as a producer, and at the weekend working in a bar or a restaurant or being a waiter.
This is a personal attack on me.
No.
You've got to quit. You've got to quit Hooters.
Joking.
You can't work at
totally
Hooters
joking.
anymore.
Look, the thing, no, but you're completely right. You're right.
But my point is, these people are going out and working and making an effort, and I do think that we need to imbue that in people. Do you know the reason? I'm going to say this. You know the reason why this whole floor is full of private school kids, why they're all... It's not the money they've got. I had a producer once who used to live in that St. Christopher's hospice. In that St. Christopher's
Hospice.
Not hospice.
Hospice?
Hostel.
He's not around anymore.
Right. But the okay, so tongue tied.
I know what you're talking about.
But
yeah,
he's turning up on the National Express coach and living there for 10 quid a night and going out to work. And the reality is, I think that we're not imbuing on people that, but you can't do that unless you've got a strong family background that's going to be supportive of you. It's not about money. It's about having that strong community and people to encourage you.
Yeah, I mean, we're not building up a generation that's going to go... I mean, you know, when you hear Keir Starmer saying, oh, we're going to put boots on the ground in Ukraine, we're going to do this and that, I can't think of one person I know that would boot up and go to Ukraine who's a British person.
And they'd be useless when they were there anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, I can't. I'm anxious.
What I'm saying, exactly, we can't have all these flowery ideas about the future and not actually be building the foundation and the communities that go along with it. So it's very interesting to have a look at what's going on after these disastrous lockdowns, and I think the worst is yet to come. I hate to say that, but if we don't make massive changes right now, there's just going to be more and more stats like this.
I think President Xi is laughing all the way to the bank in the way that him and Tedros, that bogus doctor, managed to destroy this country. More next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a late show with Andre Walker. No, it's not. Sorry. This is the James Wales Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Samara Gill. Really, really sorry that I'm sitting in for James Wales. I appreciate nobody can emanate a legend. He's a little bit ill tonight. I will say in my defence that I was having a very, very lovely dinner in Birmingham when I got called at 6 o'clock and told to step in. Always an honour and a pleasure to be the understudy to a legend, and you know, I would never seek to complain about that. But I do make the point, because if you complain about me, you have to bear in mind, A, I never claimed to be as good as him, and B, I did come quite a long way to be here. Anyway, I've just seen a story this week that really leaves me absolutely staggered. You know, we're so worried about our society, our communities and our families, about the way that the woke agenda, the trans agenda, the way that uncontrolled immigration is destroying our society. And I know that not everyone thinks that everything that Donald Trump has does is right. We have a country where you have a separate head of state, the king, head of government, prime minister. In America, obviously, that's amalgamated into one. But I don't think anybody with any sanity can sit back and say, isn't it right that he starts to take government seriously and we should follow that lead? Well, unbelievably, having taken the mick out of the world with the Joe Biden abortive re-election campaign, the Democrats in the United States of America are saying that they believe that the mistake they've made is that they have been insufficiently woke. Well, Brad Palumbo is a journalist and YouTuber. Brad, look, why don't you just start? Because I've got no idea what to say about that. I'm pretty appalled.
Yeah, we just heard from Tim Walz, who was the Democratic vice presidential candidate alongside Kamala Harris, and he went away after taking an enormous L in the election. Really remarkable stuff. He went away, he thought long and hard, and he came back with the take that that Democrats just didn't lean in hard enough to three things: DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion; woke; and immigration. He said we just need to do those things. Sorry, Brad.
Just to be clear, they were insufficiently supportive of uncontrolled immigration.
Are they just doubling down? Is this just like a toddler having a tantrum? Is that what it? And eventually, you know, it will break down and they'll come to their senses.
Yeah, like a kid burying their head in the sand, because the polling is there. I mean,
to be fair,
we've talked to Americans.
Sorry, Brad,
that's why they lost.
Brad, to be fair, it's an ostrich that buries its head in the sand. A kid doesn't do that. That would be a poor move.
That's fair.
Yeah. But honestly,
we have the polls. We talk to people. We know why people voted for Trump. Yeah. Young people, people of color, all these groups that are traditionally very liberal all went for Trump in increasing numbers because they were sick of the DEI insanity.
Well, we saw what happened in California and New York.
Open border chaos.
They're all robbing the shops. You know, businesses. It's still going on in California and New York. There's some of these places around the country that are still sort of there. You've got the ICE sort of troops going down and removing migrants, and it's all kicking off. Is this the last death throes, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever give it up, because the Democratic Party is scared of their own base. They've got their 15% of the country that is hyper woke, that is truly all in on the identity politics, on the DEI stuff, not just everyone's welcome, treat everyone fairly. Of course, we all support that. The toxic, dividing people up into identity boxes, uplifting some groups at the expense of others, and they're afraid of those people.
But that's all they do, isn't it? They're not interested in any, like, the economy or anything else going. It's just about those two little policies, and they're meant to be a mainstream opposition now. But
well, the other issue they constantly talk about is abortion and abortion rights. And between the three of those issues, you really have the entire Democratic Party and everything they stand.
I think what Ash is driving at, and I don't know what Samara thinks about this, is one thing that we don't understand, Brad, is this, and I suspect you probably don't understand either, but let's lament it together. This idea that you have a party that's supposed to be supporting the working man, supposed to be supporting working class families, supposed to be worrying about, you know, how are we going to bring jobs back in vehicle manufacturing to Detroit when they've been sent overseas? How are we going to guarantee that young people can afford to get into university education, despite the fact that to keep it as elite as it is in the United States of America, that has an enormous cost? And they're gobbing off about whether Dylan Mulvaney Mulvaney should don a frock and talk about Bud Light. And you think, well, hang on a second, why do you think this is going to win an election? What? And I feel that one thing that we've had to do as the political right is step in and defend their base.
Yeah, I mean, Trump has made huge gains with them, and Biden did do that. He invited Dylan Mulvaney, who's radioactive, as you mentioned, to the White House. So Democrats, some of them are trying to do revisionist history now and say, we were never that woke, or that was just a couple months in 2020. They really did go all in on this stuff, and if they want to walk it back, they need to actually do that and have a reckoning over it, not gaslight us.
But they're still in denial, aren't they? I mean, they're in denial with their policies on, trans and that's all denial. So, of course, they're just going to carry on with it. And what do you think about that? They're just in denial about everything, including this woke's we just got to double down and it'll work in the end.
I mean, they're so far in denial that they have been saying that they think Kamala should run again. I mean, I don't know if Brad's heard about that rumor, but it's like, get the boxed wine ready and let's go, because I just...
She's already got it ready.
No, because they genuinely think, they've looked at stats and they've been like, oh, she actually didn't have too bad of a presidential run. She was able to pick up votes. There are many sources.
Just to be clear on Kamala Harris,
Yep.
She lost to a man who'd been convicted of a crime, painted his face orange, glued a fake wig on his head, and went round insulting absolutely everybody during the election campaign. Now, look, whatever you think of Donald Trump, I mean, to be clear, they have run a couple of duds again. I mean, look, no disrespect, but if you get beaten by the guy who got beaten by Joe Biden, then you've really got problems.
Or did he?
There were so many miscalculations. Like, they really thought they were going to get the youth vote. They thought they were going to get the Latina vote, the working class vote. Trump picked all of those up because you know what the one uniting factor is for Americans? It's the green. It's the money. And that is what he ran on. And that's what the Democrats had no idea about.
Brad, can you respond to that? Because one of the things that we're, I think, bemused by is exactly what Samara's saying there. I don't get this whole, what is the Asian American concern? What is the black American concern? I mean, I remember Steve Norris, when he ran for Mayor of London, they went, what are you going to do for the gay community? He went, I'm going to make sure the tube runs on time. Largely because I think the number one concern of the gay community in London is being able to get home from work. And I thought, well, that's a reasonable point, isn't it?
Gays do like to go home from work, yes,
but
on the train.
Yeah, but I think the point is that these issues are universal. What is the gay issue? What's the black issue? What's the trans issue? Well, actually, it's probably low tax and having a decent job.
And that's why they supported Trump, a lot of those communities.
It's the cost of living. It's that was the number one issue under Joe Biden that everybody rejected because it touched us all, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat. And some of it was international, some of it was going to happen, but Biden's policies absolutely made it worse. And the president gets blamed for it regardless if it happens under his watch. Whereas prior to the pandemic, the economy was pretty strong under Trump. People are willing to put up with a lot of crudeness, a lot of brashness, a lot of name calling, a lot of juvenile behavior if gas is cheap. That's just the reality.
They just want their lives to be better. They just want their lives
luxury beliefs.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brad. That's Brad Palumbo. Just one more thing. No, it's not that one. Not that guy.
It's Brad Lieutenant Palumbo from the Homicide Department. His real name's
Peter. It looks a bit like Morrissey, doesn't it?
There you go. Peter Palumbo.
He doesn't know he's only 20. He doesn't know Morrissey or
thanks so much, Brad. We hope that Brad Palumbo will come back. I find it absolutely shocking. But Samara, thank you so much for coming in.
You're
man.
So welcome.
Brilliant.
It's such a pleasure to be with two legends on a Friday night.
Say goodbye in Russian.
Dos vidanya.
Dos vidanya.
I could say what book means, but I'm not going to.
No, you're not. Okay. I just want to ask you to call in. We've got a couple of slots available. 03444991000. We're going to be taking your calls. Somebody has complained, do you actually take calls on this show? Well, I've got to be honest with you. This is the James Whale Show, and I'm only sitting in because he's not here tonight. He's a little bit unwell, so we will take your calls. I warn you, I'm not as good as a legend, but I am filling in. I'm proud to do so. 03444991000. We'll be back just in a moment.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is James Whale Unleashed. I just want to say to you that James is a little bit ill tonight, so I've been drafted at the last minute. Obviously, Asher is here. Just want to warn you, not as good as James. Nonetheless, I do want to take your calls. 0344 499 1000. Do you agree that the American government was insufficiently woke, insufficiently supportive of uncontrolled immigration? Well, I'm not, but please do give us a call. Anyway, this is another woke story which just drives me mad. Okay, the Spice Girls have been banned from the BBC for being racist. Now,
but one of their songs has been censored because it says in a lyric in one of their great songs, "Spice Up Your Life," the 1997 hit. Spice up your life. There's a lyric in it, and it says, like a yellow man in Timbuktu, and that has been banned. Radio 2 have edited that out because,
I'm sorry. I still stand by. On my YouTube channel, it would be Spice Girls banned for racism. I appreciate there's a different benchmark. But what the point is this? They're going through. I mean, can I just make a point about Kirsty McCall and the Pogues? Look, he wasn't a homosexual. He was supposed to be married to her.
Talking about meatballs.
Therefore, when she said, you're a scumbag, I won't wind people up, you're a cheap, lousy F. I mean, she was having a go
at him.
That makes
it sound even worse.
It wasn't homophobic. Anyway, Liam Halewood has been on my show on about a billion different occasions with a billion different justifications for being here. But tonight, Matthew, he is going to be a Spice Girls superfan. Look,
he's also a very good Boy George impersonator, as you can see.
I've got to be honest with you, Liam. There's been a little bit of a disagreement in the green room, or rather in the gallery.
You can't call it the green room anymore. You get censored.
About whether it was right for me to say that the Spice Girls have been banned. But I'll tell you something. What frustrates me is the way these people are going out and seeking a way to be offended.
I do. Like when I heard this, because you know me, I'm one of them people who's away of the world and let people live. But this was it's literally just pushed the boundary with this. Like, imagine what the Spice Girls are feeling like now. They are not racial at all. They've actually got a black member as well in the Spice Girls, and there's nothing racially about that song at all.
But how do people in Timbuktu feel about it?
Sorry, what was that?
How do people in Timbuktu feel about it? That's what Radio 2 are thinking about.
Well, hang on a second. How many people were loco in Acapulco? I mean...
Quite a lot.
To be honest, I don't know how they're feeling in Timbuktu because I've never had a call with anyone from Timbuktu,
If you stay too long in Acapulco, that's when you go loco.
Yeah, but just going back to the subject, because obviously I am a massive Spice Girls fan, and they're probably sitting there now. They're about to start doing a 2025 tour. I feel they are. That's not been released, by the way.
Are they all together, all the five of them?
Well, we don't know, do we? I wish Victoria would do it and come back. But going back to it, I just, on a serious note, like, I just feel like the BBC have censored this, and at the end of the day, they shouldn't have, because we shouldn't be rewriting history. Yeah, change the future, do what you want, but don't be banishing Spice Girls just for doing a lyric.
I'm not being... I was about to say you're a bit unusual, but bear with me on this.
Well, he is.
You're someone who's a little bit old school in the sense that you're an old school entertainer. You're somebody who books events in clubs, almost like some of these are a little bit like the Phoenix Club or whatever in Phoenix Nights, where you come on, you dress up, you do a bit of a song, you entertain people or whatever. And I just wonder, as somebody who's dedicated their life to entertainment, whether you don't get frustrated about the way that people throw rocks at entertainers like you. They're constantly trying to find the problem, whereas I honestly think, and we were talking earlier about the way that lockdown has done so much harm to young people. You know, I remember once I went to the Players Theatre with you, and you were singing away, And you know what? You did a version of a song that I particularly liked. And you know what? We had a great night. But the reality is people do not want to enjoy entertainment anymore. Does that not annoy you?
That's why I brought it up. It annoys me because I've just finished in a hotel in Blackpool. I've just done my Boy George tribute, and I can't imagine, I'm not speaking for him, but I can't imagine trying to rewrite any of Boy George's songs. He probably wouldn't have any of it, you know what I mean? And for me, I just think the Spice Girls are probably sitting there now and thinking that they've done something wrong in the world, and they haven't. They just wrote a song. It was a #1 hit. They were a global success, and to just to banish that one lyric in a song I just think is ridiculous. And on another thing as well, just one more thing. There was a call out for us as cabaret entertainers not to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, anymore. And I just thought to myself, I'm not going to go on stage. I'm not going to change anything about me, because I don't think anything we say as entertainers, nor what the Spice Girls have done, is offensive at all.
But would they write it now? If they were writing lyrics, would they write Yellow Man in Timbuktu now? They wouldn't. But like you say, it's historical. It's like archaeological offence digging, isn't it?
Yeah, and listen, I'm telling you, Dash, if I was mates with the Spice Girls, I would be made up. And if I could get on the blower and ask them that question, whether they'd still write that lyric now, I'd be made up. But I just don't think rewriting song lyrics and rewriting history and banishing song lyrics back in the day. Remember even when I was on, because they tried to ban Delilah by Tom Jones as well. It's getting a little bit
And it's cold outside. Do you remember they did? Who, by the way, which one? Because I know Jerry Spice did write some. Did she write that lyric? Who wrote that one?
They did write the lyrics to that song, like all of them.
Jerry, no, but it was mainly. I mean, Posh Spice didn't write any lyrics, did she?
Well, you don't know. She's a good songwriter. You can guess, though, can't you?
You know, and there was the dancing one, Mel C. She just did the flips and all that. She was the best dancer.
Ash, we're going to have a massive argument. Don't start on the Spice Girls when I'm online.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
The problem is, the one you were dissing is the Scouser.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
You've got to be careful.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Be careful. They'll hunt you like an animal, the Scousers.
But we do like a bit of fun on here. But for a serious note, come on the BBC. Yeah. It's a song. I bet you Scott Mills, who has a show on there, I bet you he's played that song many a time.
Well, look at the violent rap stuff that they promote all the time when they're all killing each other on the streets. They love all that, you know, what's it called? Grime, or what's it called?
Yeah,
rap, where they're all stabbing each other and they're promoting it. These are actually causing deaths on the streets.
Scott Mills. Do you think Scott Mills, on his show, has been banned? Do you think Scott Mills is going to go to a club where they're blasting out Spice Up Your Life, and do you think he's going to censor himself from singing that lyric? No, he's not. So why?
And also, if you're talking about killing, Waterloo by ABBA. Right, without being funny, the largest number of deaths per song were at the Battle of Waterloo, where the Duke of Wellington took on Napoleon. Fact.
I know, look, we're bringing up loads of songs, don't. My fantasy is going to be all banned very soon because they've all got these lyrics. Waterloo, the Spice Girls...
Bohemian Rhapsody, Mama, I just killed a man. Well, you can't have that, that's murder.
I know.
Liam, I've got one other question before you go. And it's about the entertainment industry in general. Look, I'm worried about the fact that young people are not interacting with each other in the way that they used to. They're now all swiping left or swiping right or whatever it is.
I swipe down the middle.
Should, on a serious note, should we politically be worried about the demise of the nightclub because it fails? Because actually we don't have the social cohesion that used to exist when they were on form.
In the 80s, there were 36,000 clubs. Now there's 1,000 nightclubs. I mean, that tells you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I live in Blackpool, and there was like 62 clubs that were open. There was big acts on. You know, people like Les Dawson, them kind of acts that made it from here. And the clubs are all shutting now because they just don't feel like the young ones won't support it because they just want to go out and spend 50 quid on a drink. You can go down a social club, and I'm telling you, you can still get a £3 pint. Who wouldn't want that?
You'll have a great night as well at those clubs, those little funny clubs. You have the best night.
They are the best night because you get a bingo, you get a game of bingo, you get me sitting in the corner singing Que Sera, Sera.
And the audience are great because it's like being in old Britain, isn't it? Because you've got like the old style audience.
listen, if the young ones really took notice, we actually do sing The Killers as well in the club. So,
They love that. They love that human dancer song, don't they? Every single, are you human or are you dancer? They love that.
My sign is fine.
They love that.
Yes.
Do you know what? I went to the club my mum and dad used to go to, Lee East Labour Club.
I've done that club.
Have you?
Yeah.
For how much?
Well, I'm not telling you my
Not a lot.
Ash.
No, so honestly, no disrespect to you. It can't be a lot. But I walked up and went, do you take cards? He went, you what? And I went, all right. I said, well, 2 pints. They went, £4.20. I went, I'll probably have that in change.
Make it another two, yeah.
But I'm used to London.
Can I just put out there, I know you went to the club, but they do take cards in clubs now, just to let you know, because I do many of them.
Where are you?
You
Mainly in Blackpool. Where are you performing next? Give it a plug. Where you?
Listen, I perform all over the world now, Ash, on cruises and everything.
Mainly as Boy George. You're mainly a Boy George impersonator, aren't you?
I'm a Boy George tribute, and talking about a band that might get censored, I'm in the Village People as well. So,
wow.
Which one are you?
I'm the leather camp.
Which one were you in?
The what? Hey, you, Ash. Don't, because you'll have me say something and I'll never get on telly again. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Don't worry. You've said everything so far on your various appearances. We're not worried, if I'm being honest with you, Liam.
Yeah,
Liam, thank you so much. And I have to say, honestly, this is the bit that people forget. These old, and I'm not talking about your chronological age. These old school entertainers like Liam, who can take to the mic, give you a sing, have a bit of a laugh. Honestly, these clubs are brilliant. They really are.
You'll have a great night.
Really are.
So come and see us in Blackpool. My name's Liam Hare. Will follow me on everything, and I promise.
I'm not going to go and see you. I mean, I've given you a plug now, right? I'm not going.
If I'm up there, I do come up there every few years. So
yeah,
I'll come and see you.
Get yourself to Black. I'm in Kings and Queens on Central Pier as Boy George all season. So
fantastic, man.
Actually, I bet he makes a few quid off that.
Cannon and Ball used to do that.
All right, thank you so much to Liam Halewood. I think what we should do is go to a break and then start taking the calls. Back in a moment.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, who's going to win the flip-flops?
Nigel Farage flip-flops.
The Nigel Farage flip-flops.
Yeah.
Okay. the best caller can phone in, and at the end of the evening, I will claim that you've won the flip-flops and then take absolutely no action to send it to you whatsoever. Okay, so let's go first to Ken in London. Ken, you're on talk.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Easter time, Passover time. If you don't mind, I would like to talk about the two most awesome experiences of fear I've ever experienced in my life.
Please go ahead.
The first one was on the 30th of June, the year 2000.
Yeah.
I was in an experience where I was totally overtaken by extreme fear and the awesome experience of living totally helpless. Absolutely helpless.
Well, what happened, man?
I'll tell you just in a minute. I'll tell you the two things happened at the same time, Ash.
All right.
But this experience of helplessness, listeners, viewers, it was awesome. I cannot totally explain it, but it was fearsome and it was awesome. The second experience along with it was the experience of being totally alone. It's an awesome experience to be alone. You know, you have no comfort, you have no support, you have no help from anybody as possible.
Doesn't sound very good.
It's an awesome feeling of aloneness. Do you know when it happened to me?
No.
When I had a heart attack.
Yeah, I knew that.
When I had a heart attack,
You should have said.
I had the most awesome experiences in my life. This is a serious business. James Whale, if you're listening, James, your death is coming, James, the same as all of us. We're all going to die. You have a time to repent, James, so I'm saying this in love for you.
He's probably asleep now. He's probably gone to sleep.
Listen, we're all going to die. We've got a birthday. We've all got a death day. There's lots of mocking going on right now about Jesus and Christianity right now.
Ken, before you go any further, and I know you and I, by the way, when you say you love me, I love you, and I'll tell you why I love you, because I think you're somebody who stands up for your beliefs, and I largely agree with them. As you know, I have a strong disagreement with you, which is that you feel that you should judge people. But what is it? Why should we believe that James Whale does not have a strong relationship with God and needs to repent? I mean, when you say we're all sinners all the time, that's right. I've never had a theological discussion with James Whale. I've never prayed with James Whale, and nor have you. And one of the things that does frustrate me, Ken, look, beyond having Christian love for you, I actually genuinely agree with a lot of the things you're doing, and I think a lot of our viewers and listeners would feel the same way. But there's just this one niggling thing where you feel that you have the right to say that he should repent. And my argument is always, and you've heard this multiple times, I have no reason to believe that he hasn't repented already, that he doesn't already have a relationship with God, and he isn't already going to heaven, and he hasn't already been born again in his own way. I don't understand why you're the judge and jury.
Well, I'm not the judge and jury, but James has mentioned, I've been talking to him now for over 20 years.
All right, fair enough.
He has mentioned many times he doesn't believe in God, he doesn't believe in Jesus, so that's what I take, that's what he believes.
Although to be fair to me, I will say one thing, no, just in his defence, Ken, to be fair to me, he has told me that whilst he is not he doesn't advance religion, he is not a non-believer either.
I think he's an agnostic. Basically, Ken, your is your way or the highway. If you don't accept Jesus, you go to hell. That is what it says.
No, it's not my way or the highway. It's God's way or the highway.
Yeah, well, that's your rules are. If you don't accept Jesus, you're going to hell.
It's not my rules.
Well, all right, but the rules that you accept, and what Andre's saying is, well, you might not be right. It could be.
Anyway, to be fair, Ken, I think you've answered the point. Let's move on.
Well, can I speak again?
Yeah,
Tell us about your other moment of fear.
Listen, I'm on here in love and concern.
I understand that. Sorry, Ken, I pulled you up on that one minor point. Please do continue.
Right. Now, when I mentioned to you about this experience, these two experiences I had, this is awesome. I'm telling you, you are going to go through the valley of shadow of death soon. A few years for all of us. It's not long coming.
Yeah, but sorry, Ken, you had that experience, and you're just saying other people who haven't had the experience have got to take your word for it. Why haven't they got to wait till they have the same experience you had?
Well, if you go through the valley of the shadow of death without Jesus Christ as your Lord and Saviour, that's what you will experience.
No, but you had an epiphany because you had a heart attack and then you had something else. If someone doesn't have that, why should they have to believe it when they haven't had the voices, telling them that?
Well, listen, listen, we've all heard about Jesus, Ash.
No, but you had a direct experience.
Yeah, but
well, other people don't have that. But you're saying, well, never mind, take my word for it.
Well, we can learn. We can learn from one another's experience. Surely, I can tell you something I experienced.
Yeah, but it's not fair. You had the experience.
You experience it too. But let me tell you, the good news. That's bad news.
Right. So yeah, give us the good news, man.
I experienced in the hospital, the fear came upon me. It was tremendous. Hear me when I'm speaking here. You're going to die one day. It was tremendous. I'm not talking nonsense. You're going to die. You're either going to die in fear and loneliness, or you're going to die in victory with Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. There's no two ways about it.
So
if you die without Jesus, friends, who's ever listening to this, if you die without Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you will experience the most awesome fear and aloneness ever, and you'll go to hell. And I'm saying that in love because that's what Jesus
about can I examine another thing? So, I mean, look, you and I have a fundamental disagreement. You think our disagreement is bigger than it is. It's not actually. I think our disagreement is fundamentally that you are very worried about people's relationship with God. I'm not, because I believe that's personal to them and they will deal with it themselves. What if I was to say to you that I'm not worried about your soul? And I'll tell you why I'm not worried about it. Because actually, I watch what you do on this earth, and I think, whatever your relationship is with God, whatever mistakes you've made, you know, you've said in the past as a younger man you might have thumped somebody. Do you remember when those nude bikers came along? You said if you were a younger man you would have punched them or whatever. Whatever sins you've made, I sit there and I think, well, actually, you know, you've served your religion, you've served your country, you've worked hard, you've brought up your family. Were you perfect? No, I imagine you weren't, but you've always been very pleasant to me. And then I sit back and I think to myself, I'm more concerned about what you do on this earth, because I believe that actually the good works that you do on earth feed into your relationship with God anyway, and therefore I'm not worried about that relationship.
Well, that's your belief, Andre, but the Bible says we're saved by grace through faith and not of our works, lest any man should boast. I'll tell you why I come and speak.
Well, that's not what.
So that means you can do what you want in life, but as long as you accept Jesus, you'll go to heaven, even if you've been a. With
respect, the segment that you've just posted, that you've just mentioned about the boastful nature of public works, is absolutely not what I was talking about, Ken. But anyway.
No, but here's the thought here. Now, you can argue with me as much as you like, but
well, I don't. I agree with you.
I'll tell you why I speak here on the phone. When I became before I became a Christian, I was a very selfish, arrogant man, a sinner, a very big sinner. Not a criminal, but I was a big sinner.
Just a matter of interest, Ken. Ken, before you go any further,
like Nick Cotton.
Before you became a Christian, were you somebody who was very tin-eared and incapable of listening to other people's points of view?
No, I wasn't. I could listen to
just wondering.
Ken, what if there's a Buddhist having a heart attack and he hears the voice of Buddha in his head? Who wins that argument then? We can all have heart attacks and hear voices in our head.
Listen, if you just make this point, this is important to me, because I come on here quite often and I thank you for free speech.
No, and we thank you for calling.
This is important for me, that the people who listen to me, they know my heart.
Your flock.
Before I was a Christian, I was a selfish, proud man. God brought me to humility, and now He's given me love in my heart for everybody. Nobody's missed out.
But some would say you're still arrogant, because now you're just saying it. You've got to believe what I believe. That's quite arrogant.
I'm telling you. No, Jesus said. I'm telling you.
Well, that's your way. Like someone could say Buddha said this.
Listen, Ash. I'm telling you why I come on here, because I love you in the Christian viewpoint, love of goodwill. I'm coming on here because Easter time is coming up, and they'll make a mockery of Easter again.
They're banning it. They're banning it in some places.
Yeah, they're making a mockery of it. This is why God's judgment's coming.
Yeah.
About
time too.
Ken, can I now say to you about the mockery of Easter? You know, first of all, look, once again, you and I have a disagreement. I'm going to lay it out for the viewers and listeners. You're not so interested in Christmas presents and Easter eggs and that sort of thing. I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. Each to his own. But one thing I think we can all agree on is this. It is Lent right now, okay? I accept it's also Ramadan. There should not be in Oxford Street, Ramadan and Eid lights up, there should be Lent lights. And the reason is, or Easter lights, or whatever it is, or if you're going to say, if you're going to be low church and say, well, actually, I don't want any celebration of this period, then there should be no celebration. But what upsets me is this: it's not equal but different. This is a Christian country, Ken. If Easter and Eid are conflicting and they're at the same time, then Easter and Christmas, Pentecost, or whatever you want to have, ought to take priority.
Correct. But let me just say this, Andre, I agree with you there. The question is this, this is to every of us. If you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and died for your sins on the cross and rose from the dead, and you believe that sincerely, never mind religion, if you believe in the reality of Jesus Christ's death and resurrection, and he is the Son of the living God, and you ask God for forgiveness, God has promised to forgive anyone who humbles himself and calls out, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I believe in Jesus. And if we do that sincerely anywhere, I done it in a truck driving down the highway in Canada 45 years ago, you'll be saved. Because
doesn't matter what you've done in your life. You could be a mass murderer. You'll still go to heaven.
Jesus is the only one.
No. I've got to be honest with you, Ken. We're going to leave it there. But Ken, I will say one thing that I agree with Ken on 100%. 100%. What Ken has always said is, you have the right to repent, but equally, on earth, you take punishment for the crimes you've committed. Therefore, you may go to, Ken is a supporter of the death penalty, as an example, because those people that murdered women and children and whatever ought to be put to death. If they wish to repent on their deathbed before the sentence is carried out, then they will go to heaven. But on earth, they will be sentenced. Ken, I'll give you one final sentence. Because
could be another 10. Oh, he's gone away quick. He's gone away from the radio. Let's take a break.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll go to a break. Back in a moment.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. I want to say the legend James Whale is a little bit ill tonight, and just to say to you that when I was offered the opportunity to be his understudy long term, I said it's a great honour, but I accept that I'm not as good as he is, so please don't invade the company saying Andre Walker's not as good as James Whale. They know that. I know that. Asher knows that. But we'll do our best. Paula is in Halifax. Paula, you're on Talk.
Good evening. How are you both?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Now then, Ash.
Yeah.
What's matter with James? He's deteriorating.
He's all right. He's just, you know, he's a bit knackered. It's a late show, and sometimes, you know, it's a day-to-day thing, and he wasn't feeling up. But he's fine. He's going out for lunch with Charlie Mullins to a pub. He'll be back next week, Cateries Paribus.
Paula, can I just say one thing? One thing? James Whale has been entirely open and honest about his illness from day one. We're not hiding anything.
I watch his podcast.
He sent a message. I said, "What's going on? Why?" He goes, "I'm all right, mate. Don't worry about it."
All that happened is a few hours before the show, he was a bit exhausted, as he gets tired before the shows. He's always been open and honest. If there was a real problem, we would tell you. There is not a real problem.
He's got a new mobility scooter. I think he was just enjoying that, riding around doing wheelies. So, apparently he did wear himself out, you know, driving around, getting really excited. You know, they look great. I wouldn't mind one of them anyway, just going around town.
So, just to be clear, he got that same thing that Madge Harvey had on Benidorm.
Yeah, and he got really excited. I mean, you know, you can rent them in some seaside towns, and I've thought about it.
No, stop everyone.
Don't worry about
stop
that.
Everyone. Paula, right, in my ear... So I got told, oh, Andre, leave your VIP champagne reception because James Whale's ill. I didn't realise literally the reason he was unable to do it is he got a new mobility scooter and is now effing knackered because he drove...
Yeah, but the thing is, right, about 2-3 years ago, because of the medication or something, because of the stuff he was on, they banned him. They said you can't... They suspended his licence for a bit. So he's got suddenly he can drive again. So he's going around, he's going around to the pubs.
Hang on a second.
Causing real trouble.
Causing carnage.
I've made a whole show where I've been very sympathetic, and I'm now being told he got his council tractor, right? But he bowled it round the streets.
And he's going out drinking with Charlie Mullins tomorrow. So don't worry about that.
Can I tell you something? I was sat there with Farage. I was sat there with Richard Tice. I was sat there with Isabel, whatever her name is, and all the rest of them, right? Overlooking...
No wonder you left and came back early.
Overlooking the National Indoor Arena, right? In the VIP lounge.
That's where they film Gladiators, pugil sticks.
No, hang on. I was about to be escorted to front row seats for this Farage speech.
By Wolf.
And do you know what they said? They said, Andre, have anything at the bar. They had kebabs, they had everything. Great, okay. And I said, well, I wonder if we could have a bottle of Krug. Yeah, you can. £200 a bottle, £300. I don't know what it is. £300, and they just pop, right, pop. No, shut up, Paula. Shut up, Paula. Right. So the delicately drizzling this Krug into the glass with a little bit of crushed strawberry in there. And I get a phone call from Chuck Thomas, the producer, going, Andre, you're in Birmingham. And I thought he was going to say, because we'd love to interview you from Birmingham, James Whale's ill. I had a £300 bottle of Krug in front of me, and I got on the train to come back, and that was the reason.
Did you take the bottle with you, at least?
Did I take the bottle with me? I'll tell you what I took with me. Disappointment. That's what I took with me. Disappointment. Nobody told me the reason.
That's really sweet, Andre.
Just what? Is that it?
Nobody told me the reason he was tired. I thought...
You're not even going back, are you, after? If you go back, it's still there, waiting in the bucket.
Listen, guys, another question I wanted to ask.
You've done enough already, if I'm being totally honest. Right.
What is it, Paula?
Right. You know that President... not Putin. Do you like President Putin again now, Ash?
Sorry, is what?
Do you like him?
Do I like him?
Yeah.
I don't know him. But I don't think he's a very nice man. I mean, he murders people in Britain, doesn't he, on our streets, allegedly?
Well, that's exactly what I mean.
He's a bit of a murderer. I don't think you should like him, you know.
Since Trump has got involved, how do you work it out in your mind that it's possible for him to have meetings with President Trump and all this palaver? I've seen it on the news.
Well, he's just stringing him along. You know, he also knows about the art of the deal, Putin. So, you know, that's how they deal with oligarchs in a different way. People fall off buildings.
Can I answer in this way? I think what we try and do in this show is say, look, first of all, we sitting here, I know it sounds silly and twee, but we sitting here act for Britain and we try and represent Britain as best we can. We don't get everything right. But at the same time, look, I don't believe in this goodies and baddies thing where people go, oh, President Zelensky has done this, that makes him awful. No, it doesn't. President Putin has done this, that makes him awful. Look, the reality is that all of these
pretty beautiful things, though.
No, but all of these things, what you've got to do is you've got to say it's not in international relations. It's not black and white. So let me give you an example. Putin is a thief, right? He's a thief. Also, he launched a chemical and biological. Sorry, he launched 2 chemical attacks on the United Kingdom
that we know of,
right? So Skripal and Lukashenko was his name. I forget. But
Not
what?
Lukashenko.
No, it wasn't Lukashenko. It was the other one. But Litvinenko. So Litvinenko, he used nuclear isotopes to poison somebody in London, and then Skripal, he used a nerve agent, Novichok, which is a version of VX,
and actually killed a British citizen in the end.
So, however, that doesn't mean that the Azov regiment in eastern Ukraine behaved properly towards the Russian minority. I'm just saying.
Right. I'm just trying to understand this now.
Well, no, I tell you what you need to understand more than anything else, and this is something that, without being disrespectful, I think a Jewish person would understand more than anybody else.
Yeah.
The standard of treatment.
Why I said I wanted to know for
the standard of treatment of ethnic minorities in Eastern Europe is far, 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 far below what you are used to. You get told that the United Kingdom is very racist against ethnic minorities. That is not what it's like. You know, when they're talking about, I mean,
it never used to be anyway.
If we were going to describe what the Azov regiment had done to the Russian minority, and just to those people who do know, the dog food and cling film thing it's so graphic that we can't actually describe it in any even oblique way and make it appropriate on radio even this late at night. But that doesn't mean Putin should invade the country and have a genocide. That's the reality.
Wow.
You happy with that, Paula?
All right, Paula, thanks so much. Dean is in Mansfield. Dean, you're on talk.
Hi there, Anton.
Andre.
Andre.
All right.
Yeah, what would happen if there was really a war? Where would England be?
In the gutter. I mean, Russia loses 500,000 to 1 million troops. That's like 10 times the size of our whole military, navy, army, RAF. So we can't take on Russia.
I think realistically, if there was to be a war, you've got to understand what would happen is we would effectively be the aggressor, like in the Second World War and the First World War. And what I mean by the aggressor is this. What would happen is, first of all, the United Kingdom would not be invaded in any scenario. What would happen is there would be action taken in continental Europe, and we would have to make a decision as to whether we joined one side or joined the other side or joined neither side. So what I mean by that is, if you think about it, in the First World War, under the Schlieffen Plan,
All right, can I come back to this, please, if you don't mind? Yeah, where would Scotland be?
Well, Scotland is part of the United Kingdom. So
No, honestly, where would Scotland be?
Well, it'd be part of the United Kingdom.
Still where it is.
Yeah, but where would Scotland be? Because
well, I don't understand the nuance of the question.
Scotland would take advantage of the European Union.
Well, only if they're an independent country.
Yeah, well, Scotland will take advantage of
No, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. You said if there was a war tomorrow, what would Scotland do? Scotland would be part of the United Kingdom. And if you think there would be a referendum on Scottish independence during a war, you're very much mistaken.
No, I don't think so.
So you think there would be a referendum on Scottish independence if we were at nuclear war with Russia?
Scotland back because
but why aren't we acting as NATO? Why are the European Union and Britain, why are they trying to act alone? What's going on with the NATO thing? That seems to be going out the window. Just to make it look like statesmen.
Because von der Leyen, what it's called, who has all this money, what is suddenly she's let on some kind of thing cut of husband, isn't she?
Assuming.
All right, thank you so much, Dean. That was a very interesting point, which we will cogitate over later. No idea. Chris is in. Chris is in Sunderland.
Hey, man, Chris.
Good morning.
Now, Chris, I want you to, before you do anything else, I want you to respond to the past 3 points that Dean made.
No, don't. Just carry. What do you want to say, Chris?
No, you're in Mackham, or
you're a Mackham. You're not a Mackham, are you? You're a Mackham.
Yes, I'm a Sunderland supporter.
Right. All right, nice one, man.
So it's.
What did you want to say, though? Is that what you're?
It's on about James Whale.
Yeah. What?
I miss his talking and that. Because he talks. If anybody comes on on the show.
Yeah.
If he doesn't like, he switches off. Because I can remember when I was young, he used to be on the local radio up
north. That's right, on Metro Radio, man.
Yes, but one thing, this is a true story.
Aye.
My dad went on, and my dad was a bit of deaf, right? And James Whale says, "Where are you speaking from?" And he's a Shield accent, right? And he says, "I'm speaking from his mouth," and he's cut him off.
Is that the end of the story?
No, I cut them off.
That's a real winner. You should enter Britain's Got Talent in stand-up comedy for that.
Yeah, I'd probably give.
Have you got another story?
What about cats or anything like that?
Yeah, a cat one. Yeah, go on.
Right. When I was working, right, I used to let the cat go on out, right?
Yeah.
And one day, I went down to get the bus, right?
Yeah.
Went on the bus, right? Sit there.
This is better than the last one.
In the middle of the bus, right?
Yeah.
Next minute, the people on the bus start laughing their heads off. I said, "What are they laughing?" My cat folded on the bus. I had to take the cat back home and take it in. I was late for work and I got disciplined off the...
Did you not tell them that the cat had got on the bus and you had to escort the cat back?
I got disciplined when I went back, when I went to work.
And so, have you got another story? Because that one was better than the first one. And if we go on this trajectory, we'll have an amazing... Have you got another story?
Another cat story?
No, not necessarily cat, just a general story.
Oh, I can't say.
All right, another cat story. Have you got another cat story?
Another cat, right.
He's got lots of them.
The first cat we ever had was called Henry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
is that it? Is that the end of the story?
No, my ma, the cat went in the bedroom and tried to get the cat out. And my dad come in and my ma says, "Come on, Henry, come out the bedroom." And the next minute, my father thought my ma had an affair with somebody in the bed.
What, just because, what? So the cat went in the bedroom and your father found your mother in...
"Henry, come out, Henry." And my father...
Fantastic. Have you got another cat-related story?
No.
Is that the end of them? Well, have you got anything else? Is that it? I think that is it. So let's go to Kim in Wiltshire. Have you got a cat story, Kim?
No. Well, there's a cat in the close that we'd like to adopt. He comes in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, wait, hold on. This is good. I think we've struck gold here.
I just found out.
Call him with your cat stories.
About cat napping it, but no.
Have you ever seen a cat actually use a toilet? I saw that recently on Twitter, and it's incredible. Cardi B has cat of the week.
I got a cat who has a shower, but anyway, just wanted to say, lovely show, because I can't sleep tonight. I'm in a lot of pain. But to do with the Russian poisonings, you don't really think that Russian agents would be careless enough to throw it in a bin?
So who do you think did it then?
There's a clear setup. There's no way Russians...
Well, where would they throw it?
Well, they wouldn't, would they?
Why not?
Because they won't...
Where else are you going to throw it? Just chuck it in the bin, probably be all right. They didn't realise someone's going to fish in the bin and go, look, some nice perfume. And they don't care anyway, do they?
Russian agents...
Well, what happened to Litvinenko then? Poisoned with polonium and died in a horrible way over a month. And
you still don't know if it was a Russian...
What about those two spies that went, yes, we went to Salisbury because we like spire? They weren't even hiding it. They were taking the mick out of us.
Yeah, but I don't think proper Russian spies, they wouldn't leave any trails. It was a setup.
No, you're right. Have you got any other cat stories, though? Because this is the cat... All right. Anything else you want to talk about, Kim?
I just wanted to say, nice to hear Ken back.
Was it?
What's happened to Cindy?
Cindy? Oh, yeah, Cindy in Michigan. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, give us a ring. She called in the other day. But we haven't heard from a while. I'm a bit worried. Yeah, you're right.
I do like your show, because when you can't sleep at night...
We help you go to sleep. I mean, that's not a good thing, is it? You're saying basically we make you go to sleep. It's very hurtful.
Keep up the good work. I really enjoy your show.
Thanks, Kim. We'll be back and get Andre back in a couple of minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, the guy who's put our mics on is protesting.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about cats, and now we're talking about people who are sometimes accused of being similar to cats. They are people who actually are weaklings, not tough people. So Tarquin joins us.
We've been invaded. The studio has been invaded.
Tarquin joins us now.
Stand up a bit, show us your T-shirt.
Just Stop Oil have decided to stop their project.
We've retired.
Why?
Well, we've achieved what we needed to achieve, didn't we? We've stopped the oil, finally.
Yeah, well
The
done.
Labour government have promised to stop all new oil expeditions.
So what are you going to do with your life now that you can't,
well, that's the thing. I've started drinking again. I've turned to the bottle.
Yeah.
It used to just be soy milk, but now I've started mixing it with oat milk as well, and it's just
really
it's
that's
just
crazy,
spiraling.
man.
Right, I just want to ask you: are you going to actually drink that?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I love the way we called this bluff. I love the way we called this bluff. Right,
how do you milk an oat? Where are the nipples on oats?
That's a very intimate question, Ash. I can show you after the show, but I can't do it live.
If you are lactose intolerant, do you have a problem with oat milk?
There is no lactose in this.
That's why you have oat milk.
This is 100% animal free.
So an oat does not lactate, does it?
Well, apparently it does. I mean, this is
go on, drink it. Go on, drink it.
Barrister,
do it all. Go on, go down it.
Are you upset though because you're not going to be able to hang around all your mates with the purple hair and all the old ladies?
Well, they've all quit. You know, they did what they needed to do. They threw paint all over Stonehenge.
Do you think you should have carried on? What's your next cause going to be?
I've just ordered...
Start oil. Let's start oil again.
I've just ordered a month's supply of soup, so now I'm just going to be eating that for the rest of my life, I guess. And I was going to throw it all over Andre, but we've been told to stop.
My favourite bit about this is you weren't contracted to drink the oat milk.
I did it voluntarily.
But you were contracted to put the microphones on.
I love the way you did the blowback.
So what are you going to do? Just to go back on the dole? You got
back
anxiety?
On the dole, yeah. I guess I'm one of these ones that are 40% disabled. So we've got to basically get well.
What is it?
Normally impotence.
Well, I don't know what it is. I'm just trying to get free money. My usual job's just protesting, but I can't do that anymore.
So, that's it for you and your generation, isn't it?
It feels like it.
You've stopped
it. It feels like it. Now what? What do I do? What did you do when you achieved what you needed to do?
Well,
masturbated to celebrate.
Still haven't achieved it. So what are you going to glue yourself to next, and for what purpose?
I have no purpose.
Have you got
anymore.
a lot of glue left?
Do you know glue is made from horses?
Not the ones that we use. We use oats to make that glue
you
as
use
well.
oat. Can I tell you something?
Protein.
Can I tell you one thing? I just also want to discuss with you the possibility of making concrete out of biological material.
Well, it's been known to grow.
It has been, so you can grow concrete.
You can grow concrete. And it is actually true. He was proven to be correct.
He was not proven to be correct.
No, they do. They grow concrete.
It was absolutely ludicrous. On the serious note, you are somebody who is well in with protesters amongst young people. Why are young people so obsessed with all of these weird cause groups?
It's because we have a lot to be upset about.
Why? Not going to get a house.
I can't own a house.
Crap job.
Loads of student debt. What's the point?
But you like frappuccinos.
Well, look, when I have spent all of my money on my rent, I think I can treat myself to a nice little quadruple caramel frappuccino with.
Do you watch Andrew Tate videos?
No, absolutely not. He's the worst man on earth.
Oh. What about, you like Sadiq Khan, Sir Sadiq
Khan, my hero?
He's an amazing mayor, isn't he? The way he's really, for his services to crime.
I've voted for him 6 or 7 times now, I think.
Well, like most people, you've voted 2 or 3 times per election. So, actually, I'm sorry I did your joke there.
I'm looking forward to voting for him again.
5 times per election.
5 times.
Yeah, register for postal votes, you'll be sorted.
We need more cycle lanes. We need a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. Actually, here we go.
Yeah.
I've found my purpose now. I need more things to protest about. So 15-mile-an-hour speed limits.
Yes.
Expand the ULEZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expand.
But in the words of Margaret Thatcher, ULEZ if you want to. The lady's not going. Right. I've got a joke for you.
Okay.
I've got a joke for you. A corporation paving slab walks into a bar, and he waddles in, big thick grey thing like this, and he goes, I will tell you something. I am the hardest piece of flooring you will ever meet in your life. See over there, block paving, I could have that. Look at that laminate flooring, I could have that as well. Look at that crazy paving, I could have that. Any piece of flooring, I guarantee you, I could have. And then a piece of red tarmac walks in, and the barman goes, could you have that? He goes, not a bloody chance, that's a cycle path.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Can we go to Andrew in Bristol as well? Keep the Just Stop Oil protester in here. Can we do that? I know he's meant to operate the equipment, but let's talk to Andrew. Are you there, Andrew? Come in.
I'm here, my friends, and a wonderful show as normal.
Thank you, man. Yes.
Andrew, did you like my joke?
Oh, that was great.
It was fantastic,
absolutely.
wasn't it?
I wanted to talk basically about Ted Ross to start with.
Well, that
real
fake
doctor, known real doctor,
fake doctor.
Real doctor, you must be
Ted Ross.
Joking.
So, what do you want to say about Ted?
Dr. Ted to you.
Yeah.
Ted is a crook.
Known real doctor.
Super Ted.
Well, so first of all, just to explain to everyone, if you're from the diseased planet Zog, you will not know this. Dr. Ted Ross, Ethiopian communist, not a real medical doctor.
How dare you?
The first head of the world. How dare you?
Starting time.
How dare you? How dare you?
Not only is he a crook, or an alleged crook, but he was chosen by the biggest crook on the planet.
President Xi of China.
Bill Gates.
The greatest man ever known to live.
No. Well, Bill Gates didn't choose him. It was President Xi of China. He was chosen because he was an Ethiopian communist who would be pro-Chinese.
Well, I don't know about that, but...
Well, I do. I mean, that was the whole point.
There's only one way to solve this.
Fight?
A fight. It's too late, though. Yeah. So, yeah, go on, carry on then. Bill Gates.
You had two nutters on the channel tonight, and I've enjoyed the banter.
Wait, who were the nutters?
Which nutters?
Yeah, well, you had Kendall, who's a religious...
He's not a nutter.
No.
He's a messenger from God.
I've got to go protesting, guys.
Get out, man, get out.
Ken sat there going, I love you, but you're all going to hell. I'll tell you, Mr. Mannering, you're all going to die. Mr. Mannering, you're all going to die.
We'll do.
I think it's one of the funniest things I've heard. I mean, Ken is such a religious fanatic.
Well,
and there are two things about that. One, Jesus Christ probably never existed as a historical...
No, he definitely... No, can I be honest with you? He definitely existed. You know why we know that Jesus definitely existed? Because the Romans retained the execution records from that time.
I've seen it in Tiberius, the actual plaque that mentions it.
I think so.
No, that is true. No, I'm not joking. That literally is true. Because obviously people claiming to be the Messiah was a fairly regular thing in first century Palestine. They actually made a record of all the people.
Used to be able to claim benefits for that.
He was not a Messiah. He was just a naughty.
No. But there's a record of him being put to death for claiming to be the Messiah.
They were quite tough.
Well, I prefer the Monty Python version myself. But the other nutter, of course, is the Just Stop Oil guy. And it's great news that they decided to stop their protests.
I know. Fantastic news. And we just thrown him out of the studio as well.
What have they really achieved? Nothing.
Well, no, they have. They've achieved it. They got all those the Ed Miliband. They're actually doing the policy of those stupid kids that were sitting in the road and the old ladies. They're actually done what they said. Terrorism pays off. It turns out.
I mean, the point being, they've glued themselves to the road. They've done all these things. They've sprayed paint over the greatest art treasures in the country.
And they've won. They've won. They've got what they wanted.
Okay, Andrew, thank you so much. I just want to say, in the last minute of this show, I just want to say that, I thought we've only got 30 seconds, have we?
No, we've got a minute and 30.
Okay, I just want to say to everybody that, tonight I've done a good deed by coming back from Birmingham. But, every good deed gets rewarded. And the only tickets that were available on the train from Birmingham were first class. So I had my dinner and champagne on board. And I want to thank Denny Morris and Lauren Webster for paying for the colossal travel bill that I've racked up. Right, I will tell you, nobody chills a bottle of